What up, chat? Good morning. Hello, hello. Thank you guys for the patience. Cowface dude, what is up, man? Jordy, hello. Yo, Delvoid, thank you for the 5 for hater. Appreciate that. How are you doing, Delvoid? Big Lacana, what is up? Sean, hello, hello. Askai, hello, hello. How's it going? Marvin and RJC, dude, thank you for the 20 months, brother. The 20 months, tier 3, dude. Thank you, man. Hello, hello. Welcome every morning. Buenos dias. Buenos dias. Good morning. Good morning. Rise and shine, nerds. Programming time. Welcome, though. Hope you guys are having a good start to your day. We're going to jump into the Nix stuff. But before we do that, apparently some stuff is broken. And the cluster of Quirk is not responding right now. And I'm not really too sure why. But that's why our Go Live notification didn't go out. So we're going to take a look at that first, because to be completely honest with you, I did look at the logs, and they were a little worrying. So I'm not too sure on what exactly is going on right now. One second. I'm trying to get the desktop back on, but I kid you not, I can't get it out of light mode, and so I don't want to put the desktop back on and just blind you all. So I'm trying to get dark mode back on console, on Amazon console. Hang on. All right, I'm sorry. I'm going to blind you. Why does this do this? I hate this about Dark Reader. I don't know if anybody else deals with this with Dark Reader, but there are times when, like, you just can't enable it, and it's infuriating. I'm sorry. I had to blind you guys because, like, I need you to see. Look, even if I turn it off and on and off and on, why is this happening? Why? Just grayscale it or dark mode it. Sorry, hold on. I'm a genius, chat. I forgot that they implemented a dark mode. Haha! I win! Yeah, by the way, chat, Amazon did, I forgot, they recently announced that they implemented a dark mode in AWS. So for all of you who, like me, hate Amazon's light mode, it is now available. You go click on your little guy here. Yes, it has a dark mode now. This is why you come to this stream, okay, chat? Because I literally give you that good. You know what I'm saying, chat? There you go. I'm so proud of you. Go enable it. Go enable it. I'm pretty sure Amazon just got like 50 requests for dark mode to be turned on. Yeah, it's they finally did something, and yeah, we have dark mode now, which is great. By the way, I don't know why this artifacting is also happening. I've been dealing with that lately as well. What up, Scotty, by the way? Lycan, hello as well. Glam, what up, dude? Pick, hello. Steffi, Alcaeus, what's up, everybody? Good to see all you familiar faces. They need to hook it into the auto. They need to hook it into the browser. Yeah, I agree. Well, so one of the options is like default mode. So I think you can enable that. But yeah, go enable it. You're welcome. I remember reading it. I was like, because you know, I get a lot of my information while I'm using the little coders room, and I was reading something about it in an article, and I was like, thank God. They actually upgraded. Yeah, yeah, right. What is this? Comments. Hard user separation with NixOS. Using a single Nix store to manage 2 local NixOS systems with their own dedicated partitions. So you can use the same computer work and your private. Yeah, it's possible. 100%. Yeah. With Nix. Let me put it to you this way, Cowface dude. I have not heard of doing that, but it is. Yeah, it's 100% possible with Nix. Yeah, because the store literally contains everything. So yeah. Yeah, in some ways you can kind of look at NixOS as like CoreOS in that regard, where technically like it's just a bunch of different folders, so you like everything's isolated basically. Hey, what up, Melky? Yo, by the way, chat, the bot is broken. Yeah, and speaking of which, Cowface dude, we haven't looked at Quirk for a while. You know why? Because it's been in the cloud running like a damn miracle. Yo, wannabe, what? That's why the bot's not responding to you right now. That's also why our Go Live notification didn't work out. So we need to look at the cluster. We need to examine some things, and I need to figure out why this artifacting is happening. Hang on. We are gonna do Nix stuff, but I gotta figure out why the cluster's not responding. And I can't I don't know why, but like Amazon shows like secrets in some places, and in other places it like hides it. Okay, we got a problem. The lights won't work too. So any existing process seems to be running, which is why I didn't know it, right? That's at least good. Any new process, however, like our lambdas and stuff like that, are not being created, which is why we're having this problem. That's not good, though. So one of our nodes is, excuse me, one of our nodes is not responding. This is a static cluster. Bruh, I think I'm going to have to give it another node. I think that's the solution here. I already know the solution. I'm going to have to give it another node. So, listen, we're balling on a budget here, chat. We really are, you know. And all of your support, seriously, is what keeps us alive. However, yeah, I locked the cluster to 3 nodes to save on prices, and I really scaled out the containers to make sure, like, everything was okay. We only really had like 5 or 6 available containers at any given time, but I added some new stuff to the cluster, and I think that locked it. So I think, honestly, all I need to do is just give it a new node, and then bim, bam, boom, we're good. Problem is, we're going to have to pay for that node. Ugh. All right, let's do this. Let's go to language, let's open up our fancy, yeah, there we go. That's nice. There we go. That's what we like to see. Okay. Source, GitHub, this. Pulumi Kubernetes, right. AWS load balancer, Pulumi Kubernetes. Hang on. Horizontally scaling, yeah. I mean, on a budget. So I think that's the problem. I'm curious. That's interesting that this says like not ready. Is there an error? I wonder if I could see like an error in the... See, we've got 2 pending here. We've got 2 pending. So status, memory pressure, false. We have sufficient memory. We don't have any disk pressure. 31 minutes ago. Oh, dude, did it just like literally die like 30 minutes ago, bro? Oh, man. Oh, no, 8 hours. Okay. Node ready 8 hours ago, and then node not ready 8 hours ago. Okay, so it happened 8 hours ago. It's always 8 hours. It's an inside joke between Atoda and I. Why are you not ready? Okay, hang on. Weird. Horizontally scale up to 5? Yeah, I guess we will. All right, let's do it. Okay, so chat, pick Tonyus 97X, dude. Thank you so much for the Prime, dude. Thank you for that. Those Bezos buckies. You could have given that to any streamer. You gave it to us, man. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. And again, I really appreciate all of the love. Seriously, like I never know if any of this ever funny to anyone else or not. Especially outage right as we start streaming. But thank you, man. I appreciate that. Pixel, what's up? Hello. I am curious, like I want to know how we got into this state. Bezos bucks, that will go straight to them for upgrade. Exactly. Seriously, thank you. We really do appreciate it. They're pending. So are we literally just at pressure? Okay, so hold on. We might just be at pressure. 1 second. I can't show you the main page. Never mind. I can show you this though. All right, so let's open up this. Let's open up this. Let's open up this. Let's look at each node. So here's our not ready node, right? And I'm also kind of doing this just to show you guys like how I would go through these types of problems if I was dealing it. Yeah, look, we're full. I bet you we're full. Yeah, that's what it is. So we're full. Yeah, we're just full. We need another node. Amazon, that's the one thing I hate about Amazon and their EKS stuff, man. They do this hard, and I know. Shut up. I know, okay? Before you say, you don't have to do that, BG. You can just create your own blah, 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 blah. I know. But I don't want to do that right now. And I wanted to see, like, I wanted to sit on this for at least a month or two, because if I wanted to, like, evaluate it, you know what I mean? If I want to have opinions about it, I could. Yeah, man. It is the limit. Like they're not terrible. Like they really make sure that you don't shoot yourself in the foot too terribly. Except for when you like deadlock your cluster like this, basically, which is what I did. Honestly, I should probably put a scaling limit between like 3 and 5, right? So we could just kind of like wiggle, not so much be worried about like, okay, listen. The worst thing you can do with Kubernetes is limit how many nodes it can have. It's not a good idea. 9 times out of 10, Kubernetes wants to like cycle a node for upgrades or something else. So like having dynamic horizontal scaling is good. It's not really good to disable it like I did. Again, when you're balling on a budget though, you save money where you can. And so, yeah, what we're going to do though is we're going to node group. Yeah. And we're going to change it so that it's between 3 and 5. Okay, yeah. So here's our min size, 3, right? And then our max size will be 5. AWS has mad DevRel money. They just need to be pushing credits to the communities like this. So listen, I'm gonna be real. Big Papa Front. I'm gonna be real. They have. We can't say and act like Amazon haven't hooked us up. Now, granted, we just did their Activate thing, so it's not like they reached out to us or anything like that. But if you don't know, Amazon does have this thing called Activate. And the whole idea behind it is it's like for startups and stuff like that. It's basically free money. No, it's definitely not enough. It's definitely not enough for what you're actually trying to do. Yeah, I agree. Trust me. Especially like, yeah, trust me. I know. But I mean, hey, man, beggars can't be choosers, right? And we really don't try and be beggars. So, we work with what we have. And I think that's a fun part of like the stream and like what we do, to be honest, is we show you that. Like we show you like, hey, you know what I mean? I show you how I do it at a much larger company, right? With money that's essentially like monopoly money. But then when we do it on, by ourselves, it's a much different story, right? EC2, what's that? What are we talking about, Melky? What are you talking about? Just redirect Twitch part. I mean, okay, do you want me to be completely transparent with you guys? I mean, I always am. But we've never talked about this before. Here's my opinion on this, and I'm going to be fair. And if there's anybody out there who works at Amazon or in any way, shape, or form can actually make this connection for us, I'd love to see it. Personally, I don't think that's ever going to happen with anybody on this platform, mostly because it's owned by the company. I think, like, for example, we've already worked with Azure, right? And there's probably a very good opportunity for us to work with Google and like show stuff like that. However, the vibe I have basically gotten around that is just like, why would we? You know what I mean? We can stream on our own channel and promote our own stuff. And they have their own AWS, Twitch channel. I don't, it's a bit of a bummer, but if I am completely real, Amazon, like, I don't know. They've got open doors, but a lot of them seem closed to smaller things. The door's really open to big companies, right? And things like that. But when you're smaller, they're really not, you know what I mean? I don't think they're really focused on the little guys as much as like, oh, hey, this is a company that uses Amazon. Yeah, it's like, oh, cool. So I don't know. It's a bit of a bummer, but that's why we really haven't tried it too much. And honestly, the Activate I think was more of a practical and realistic approach, which it was. We got a bit of a kickback from it. When you're like a barely new company, just to be again completely transparent, they'll give you like $1,300 I think in credits, like $1,000 for just cloud costs and $350 for support, which is not bad, I guess, for like if you're like, I want a month trial, right? Like at a big company, at a decent company, that's like a month trial basically of free credits, really. And the $350 for support. I wish they were just like, hey, we'll give you $1,350 and then you can use what you want with it if you want it to be support or if you don't, whatever. But yeah, I mean, hey, we got $1,000 out of it. That was cool, right? It's just AWS credit. It's not like we can put it towards anything else, but obviously we're making sure that we get the best out of our money we can. So again, beggars can't be choosers. We don't try and beg. So it was nice to be able to say we got that. Obviously, that's not something we're ever going to get again. Activate doesn't like replenish itself every year or something like that, unfortunately, or at least it doesn't for our bracket. But one time, cool little handout, cool, whatever. Free money's free money. So that's why I recommend it. You know what I mean? Like, it'll give us enough time to kind of figure out, like, all right, what's going to work, what's not going to work, and, you know, then actually start paying for it, which is what the reality of it is going to be. Okay, so the desired size. Okay, so our, you know what? Hold on. I need to make the desired size null. That's what we need to do, because we just need a min size, max size. That's honestly what we need to do. You just need the right person to talk to. I don't disagree, dude. Listen, I don't disagree with you. The problem is that person is not anywhere near us. So, you know, we're searching, man. We're searching. We're looking. You know, and we do try and like always be as network, like we really do try and find, instead of having like tons of connections, we try and find really meaningful connections, which is a bit of a slower approach for us, but you know, it's also been, in our opinion, way more beneficial in the long run, because then those people become like homies, you know, and then homies always help homies. So yeah, that's kind of the idea. Murano, we are working on getting the bot fixed. Sorry about that, but it's, yeah. Do you use another PC to manage your stream stuff? So Picatonius, just to answer your question, there's a computer. You can't see it, but there's a computer. So there's actually like a bookshelf right here. You can kind of see the edge of it, right? The funny thing is that on the top, my cat. The funny thing is on the top of that bookshelf. Hi, Fonz. I'm sorry, I can't not pet him. He's just the sweetest. Is our stream machine. We actually have our stream machine up there with a Slurm logo that like lights up. Long story short, all of our stream stuff goes to that, and like basically this whole room, like a Tota's monitor, my monitor, our microphones, everything is wired through that main computer right there. So yeah, it's an interesting setup. Your region is not that small. What region? What are we talking about? Like as in US West 2? Because it's a pretty big region. I'm kidding. I know what you're saying. I know what you mean by region. We're gonna fix the lights. Dude, the lights aren't working. Okay, hold on. I gotta. All we need to do, chat. Okay, so here's my belief to this problem, which is simply that we locked the cluster state. And this is something that's very possible, very, very common, where essentially, again, if you don't allow your cluster to scale, because you're trying to save money, whatever, the state can essentially lock. And it's like, oh, I'm trying to do something, but I can't do anything, and I've been doing it for hours, so I don't know what to do. I guess I'm not ready. And you can see here, I've got 2 containers pending for 9 hours, basically. And if we go across each node, you'll see that each of them is basically 35 out of 35 used, right? And yeah, the TLDR on that is that we effectively locked the cluster, and so now it's not able to do anything. The easiest way to fix this is just let the cluster scale. Let it scale out naturally. It'll scale itself back down, or it should essentially. And so, yeah. Did you look at Carpenter for cluster auto scaling? No, I have not. Actually, to be fair, it's one of the reasons why I haven't touched scaling at all, is because I haven't touched auto scaling. So the reality of it is I'm going to scale this cluster out, and then probably after the stream today, I'm going to have to now figure out what our auto scaling situation is. Shalom. Hello, Whisper. Sargath, hello. Do you have any comparison to the Moonlander versus the Kinesis 360? So I only own I only own the Moonlander, sorry. And I've had the Moonlander for like, geez, now probably almost 2 years, quite some time. Hands down, my most favorite keyboard I have personally ever owned. Now, I've owned up until the Moonlander your tactical, your good old-fashioned just normal keyboard in some variances where I was basically working on like a gaming computer as a kid, and then I slowly evolved into like, a nice, really nice, mechanical keyboard, and then I eventually, Darwinismed myself out to what we have now of this hybrid being of split keyb that you see. So I've used a lot of different kind of keyboards, and I have a lot of experience with keyboards, but I've never used the Kinesis 360. what I can say now after being on this keyboard for 2 years, as well as just like honestly talking to a ton of people, getting more involved into the keyboard world, and really just trying to have an honest opinion. I think, or an unbiased opinion, not an honest opinion. An unbiased one is, I think they're both fantastic keyboards. I really, really do. Even the Kinesis Advantage 2 is a fantastic keyboard when you look at it from like what their purposes are, what their design is, right? The Kinesis 360 and the Moonlander are both very awesome in the sense that they're both split keyboards. And no matter what, whether you get a Moonlander, a Kinesis 360, or even the Advantage 2 that has like a split, they've got like another like gaming keyboard or like, you know, whatever. Yeah, the skateboard. Yeah, the skateboard. That's going to be a massive dynamic shift for you, plain and simple. End of story. That is it. Like, that's the best way I can put it is like really going from a normal keyboard to a split keyboard is a massive change, right? And it doesn't matter what keyboard you use. And I think for me, when I first, and I'm going to be, again, I really want everyone to take this into consideration, anyone like thinking about going to a split keyboard and stuff like that. When I first did it, I thought it was because of the Moonlander. I was like, oh, the Moonlander's so great. Oh, I love this split keyboard. But then I'm going to be real. As I started investing myself more into the community and, just seeing just honestly the pure power of a split keyboard for somebody who works on a keyboard for gratuitous amount of hours a day, that's when it was more aware of me of like, okay, it's not so much about the Moonlander. It's just more so about the fact that you really need a split keyboard. So that's something to note. If you've never had a split keyboard before, it's just going to be a huge jump in that regard. If you have had a split keyboard, then the differences between the two become a lot more negligible. The biggest comparison I think I can give really is that the Kinesis 360 has a different style purposefully design of how the keys are laid out, right? It's the convex or whatever, the, this like valley that they've got. That to me is very interesting, right? The Moonlander essentially concavity, thank you. The Moonlander basically tries solving the problem in the almost opposite way, which is ironic, where the Kinesis focuses on the fingers, whereas the Moonlander focuses on the thumbs, right? And so if you look at the Moonlander, and this is like something I realized later on, if you look at the Moonlander, it's all about the thumb clusters. And I know you asked like, how would I feel about the thumb clusters? I personally, the one caveat I will say about the Moonlander is the thumb clusters, you have to make them valuable, right? The Moonlander has this like tinting feature essentially where, or tenting feature. Hold on, where can I find it? I want to show you like what it looks like so you understand the comparison of the two. Come on. They used to have like a interactive thing that like showed the tenting while it was being done. Hot swappable, mechanical, black printed, left side columnar, 2 halves. Huh. Well, anyways, these like thumb clusters here, they tent. And as a matter of fact, like here, if you look at my keyboard, you see how my thumb cluster is like really angled, and then like my keyboard is straight. That's because I personally like my hand. When you type, sorry, we're gonna go off onto a topic here. When you type, like the best thing you can do is have your hand in the most natural spot you can. So if you look at my hand, right, my hand just lays kind of like this, right? And so this is another reason why the Kinesis is a very interesting one, is because naturally, normally, if you look, your fingers are in front of your thumb, right? Which is what that concavity is there for. It allows your fingers to dip down naturally into the keyboard a bit more. What the Moonlander does is the Moonlander actually shifts your thumb up so you do something more like this. And then you naturally lay your hand on the keyboard kind of like this. And that's all through the thumb cluster and the tenting, where basically the more dramatic you make that tent, the more your thumb gets pulled down essentially, and it makes it so that you basically have an inverted, like it's convex basically instead of concatenated, whatever. And so it really is like it does try solving that same problem, but it does it in a much different way. I will say if you're looking for completely ergonomic design, the Kinesis might have a better one than the Moonlander. However, what I will say as well, and there's a big other thing here. I am a little bit of a nerd when it comes to things looking pretty. The Kinesis 360 is a very pretty keyboard. Don't get me wrong. It's much better than the Advantage 2. However, I like things that glow. I like things that I can like program and play with and things like that. Also, the 360 wasn't out like 2 years ago. And so, yeah, that was another big thing for me it was either, you know, the keyboards that were there or this really cool customizable and ergonomically kind of focused keyboard, which is why I got the Moonlander. So that's the TLDR. I know it's a little bit much, but essentially, yeah, you know, it's a keyboard that you like. Your keyboard should really be something that you pick for you. You know what I mean? Like, and I like real talk. I still love my Moonlander. Like, I still like, yeah, I wouldn't change it for anything else. I might at some point buy a Kinesis 360 to try it or use it somewhere else. But the reality of it is I would probably still use both, honestly. Yeah. 30 minutes should be dedicated to chat for keyboard on every stream. Well, the reality of it is we'll probably just make a YouTube video about it. Eventually, I'm going to make a move. Well, not eventually, but I promised chat when I first got this keyboard that I would make a review on it. And then 2 years later, still haven't made it. But I think the reality of it is, too, is it took me this long to really understand, you know, the ins and outs, really. And have, like, a real unbiased opinion to give people. I think that's the hardest part about reviews is the distance between how quickly can you get it out the door versus like how much an experience do you have with it. Yo, what up, Nix? How's it going, buddy? Aside from the lack of shipping to EU, I have sort of big hands and I wonder if one might fit more without trying them. Yeah, Sargath, I don't know about that one. You're not wrong. If you have bigger hands, I would say that the Moonlander is a little bit nicer for that. But I don't know. I also don't know. Again, I've not tried the new 360 at all, so I'm really not sure. But that's a fair question. Have you tried split keyboard with Vim? Yeah, right now. There you go. I only use Vim, so yeah. I can't get my hands on a 360. What do you mean, like you like physically, or you mean just like you can't get them? You can't get them shipped to you. What's up, Smurf? How's it going, buddy? All right, so let's scale out this cluster. Like I said, I'm going to basically just set it so that it's min size 3, max size 5. No shipping. Oh, gotcha. Cool. Okay. Build. I'm going to be fair. I don't really remember how I run this. See, this is the downside to not... Oh, that's right. Okay, so it's just the... Okay, never mind. I'm a dummy. Okay. I genuinely forgot how to run Pulumi with Go. I was like, do I like install? Never mind. I'm dumb. I'm dumb, chat. Doppler run project. And then let's do Pulumi refresh first. No, let's actually do Pulumi stack ls. Oh man, you turd. Dude, Whisper, you are on point with that, by the way. I literally was thinking that. I'm not even kidding, dude. Now that you say that, I'm just going to do it. We're just going to create it, man. I really need to have a just file in like every friggin' thing. So let's say refresh is going to be our first one. So just refresh. And then we'll make a preview. And then we'll make a update, right? Update, yeah. What's a just file? Guess what? I did a YouTube video on it, but the bot doesn't work, so I can't show it to you. No, I'm just kidding. Let me get you a link here. There you go. Go check out our YouTube. There's a video I made there on automation with CLI tools, and I talk about it. But basically, it makes it so that you just use this, and then you can like create commands that you can easily reuse and just be like, just run, and then it'll run that command you want it to run by predefining it in this file. It's kind of like a make file, essentially, if you've ever heard of a make file. Very similar. Okay, so let's say Doppler run project. For right now, we're just going to do who am I, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're welcome. You're very welcome. Are y'all still selling merch? Wanted that hoodie. Oh, yeah, don't worry. We are. Speak of the devil himself, literally. What's up, Melody? Not you, but Atoda. Hi, Melody. Shout out to Melody Dev, by the way. But yeah, no, we're still in the process of getting the existing ones out to all the people we needed to get it out to, or get them out to. Oh, by the way, let me shout out both. That's so funny because I went to shout out Melody and then I also saw Melky. So I just want to shout you both out because you're both fantastic people. There we go. Shout out can only be active at a time. Please wait a minute. Oh, shut up. But yeah, go follow Melody. I'll shout out Melky in a second. But yes, we are. We're going to do a run, basically, Melody. We're going to do a run. I think that's honestly, and I'm like, Melody, I'm going to say this to you as well, or any of our streamer friends also. After pondering the merch, like, challenge in general, which I think we all do, right? Glam as well. We've really decided that I think the best way to provide the best merch possible, and we also have seen other streamers do this too, is to simply do like runs, right? Where we'll make a few designs, and they'll be like, all right, we're gonna open up the store for this many hours. You guys can make your purchases, right, or a week or something like that, and then close it up, and then ship everyone their stuff. We've looked at solutions for like Amazon to like auto make the shirt for you and ship it. Quality sucks. Not really something super great. And it doesn't let you like customize. Like for example, where'd they go? Hold on. Like one thing we couldn't do is if you do the Amazon thing, you can't also like, include other things with it because it's just going to ship it directly from Amazon. But like we got these as well. And here, let me see if I can show them to you. But we got these as well, which are our pins. We got some pins too. Right? And then we also got this as well, which is like pretty dope. It actually looks cooler in real world, but I don't know if you can see it's like holographic or whatever. But we got those. Oh god, now I gotta fix my focus. Come on. There we go. We got those, and we just were like, all right, well, whatever. We'll just include them with the, we'll just include them with the shipping of all of the other stuff. So like, yeah, it just kind of makes sense. It just kind of makes sense, to do it that way, in our opinion. So that's basically how we're going to do it. Yeah, don't worry. They'll be out. We're excited to do it. We're excited. Again, it took us a while. Making merch you feel really comfortable and confident in is like incredibly fucking hard. It is so hard. Yeah, dude, I've been through like 5+ merch cloud providers. Always says, hey, definitely bring in my next run in house. That's just the best way we found, again, it's like quality, you know what I mean? Like it's really something that's our biggest concern, is just making sure we have really nice things to provide to people. And yeah, it was really hard to do that with like cheaper solutions, I guess, which sucks because it would be nice to save money. Are you gonna have some? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It'll be in our Discord. And then we'll also announce it on stream and stuff. And like, it'll be everywhere for sure. Yeah, it'll definitely be everywhere. We'll probably do it. Honestly, it would be dope to do it before Christmas, but we'd have to do it like literally next week. Yeah, we'd have to literally do it like next week if we wanted to do it. So we might run it. I don't know, because I also don't want to like take orders for like Christmas and be like, it's not gonna be those till after Christmas. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll figure. It's gonna be soon. Thank you, Delvoid. I appreciate that. It'll be soon, but it'll probably be more focused towards at the start of the year or something like that. If not, it'll be like within the next couple weeks. Yeah. We're building a merch site this weekend. I mean, you might be. I'm not. Okay. Let's try this. So we're gonna do just refresh. I don't know what this is gonna do actually. Hold on. Prod. So we have a prod. Okay. So let's say refresh env, right? But we don't have to do that because, oh, you know what? Yes, we do. Okay, Pulumi. You know what I should do instead, dude? Honestly, I should just look at my existing Pulumi repositories. Don't stress too much and rush it. I will wait patiently. I appreciate the patience. Seriously. That's the hard part about streaming, dude. You feel like you constantly have to be doing stuff. And like if you do, don't get me wrong, it pays off for sure. We've seen that ourselves as well. But like, I don't know, there's so many other things I have and want to do. That yeah. I think it's different for everybody, but it's a challenge for most. So we try and be good at pacing ourselves, I guess is the best way to put it. What am I looking for? Network, Pulumi service, Pulumi bucket. No, I'm looking for container registry. Yeah. Okay. So if we go here, Circle CI, and learning to pace yourself is also really good, I think, for the long run. Otherwise, eventually you'll get burned out. Refresh, diff, non-interactive, skip, preview, stack, prod. Yes. Okay. So this is what we want. So we want this exact same command. So we want to say Pulumi. Where is it? Refresh diff, refresh diff, right? Non-interactive, skip preview, stack, and this is where we're actually going to provide, we'll call it stack. We're not going to call it env. And then yes. Okay. Stack. Okay. Cool. Okay, so I need to ask myself, yo, I don't know fully how to say your name, and I apologize for that. Let me try this. I don't know. Okay, so I think it's Avinash Savaraman, Avinash Savaraman. I think that's your name. Thank you for the prime, though. I appreciate that. If I said your name wrong, I really apologize. But thank you for the prime, man. Thank you for those Bezos buckies. Seriously, thank you. Hope you're doing well as well. And again, I hope I didn't butcher your name too terribly. Hey, saw your video on automating your dev environment. Any tips on automating node install via NVM in a bash script? I install NVM and source the bash RC, but it doesn't find NVM. Well, hey, I'm glad that you saw the video. I appreciate you watching it. You said that you tips on automating node installs via NVM in a bash script. So scripts in general normally rely on your path being set up properly, especially when there are things that exist outside of that path. If your script, for example, doesn't know about where your specific node install with NVM is or something like that, it might not work. So it actually does not surprise me that your scripts aren't working with it. Honestly, why do you want to automate the installation of node with NVM? I guess would be my question. Yeah. We're getting distracted, by the way, chat. Okay, I think this is fine. Let's do this. Just refresh, and then we'll say prod. Hang on. Okay, I lied. I got to do something. EKS. There we go. I also need to... Am I able to access our Kubernetes cluster? I am not. Okay. I need to log into TwinGate. Hold on one second. Status. Hold on. Trying to automate your NVM install. So if you're trying to just automate NVM hcrans, right, or NVM itself, then I think you should just focus on that, right? If you're wanting to like use NVM to then install different node versions, I think that's going to be something different that is going to require you to figure out how, after you install NVM, where it is, right? Like where to find it, and then essentially use it directly, right? Mostly because NVM itself is a binary, obviously separate from your node versions, and NVM does a lot of like magic under the hood to getting node working for you, essentially. So like getting NVM itself installed should not be trying to automate your NVim. Wait, hold on. Have you been talking about NeoVim this whole time? Or are you talking about Node Version Manager? I need to be clear because now we're talking about two different things. Which one of those two things are we talking about? Now I am slightly lost. What was I doing? I forgot. I lost my train of thought too. Dang, and you broke my train of thought, man. Oh, that's right. I was logging into TwinGate. Okay. Okay, we should be able to access the Kubernetes cluster now. Hello? Interesting. Oh, wait. Oh, no, that is right. What is going on today, bruh? Why is like nothing working? Everything is breaking. Hang on. It keeps happening when I go to TwinGate for some reason. I don't know when I go to twingate.com, but for some reason when I go to twingate.com, it just crashes. Hang on. Well, that's not good. Crap. Even the... why are... Okay, so the cluster is effectively not responding at all, except for with everything that's currently working. Fun times. All right. We're just going to scale this out. I'm lit. Oh, I can't. Oh, yes, I can. It's managed in a different control plane. This is just Amazon. Okay. I freaked out for a second because, okay, so listen, chat. Listen. This is a massive reason why you don't join automation concerns at times. You ready for this, chat? If this Kubernetes didn't just manage Kubernetes, the cluster creation, but also like resources inside of it, and I could not access that cluster to then remove those resources to then remove the cluster, right? This would fail, right? This is a very common problem when, like, you know, you have database migrations or something like that during a deployment, and then your deployment fails because your migrations fail, right? Well, sometimes you don't want those to be blocking, sometimes you do, right? In this case, I want to manage the Kubernetes cluster separately from the like application or the container plane, essentially where everything runs. And so I sidetracked for a second because I thought it was all like I had to connect to the cluster as well, but I actually don't need to. I should be able to just refresh. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So then let's go back to our just file. Now that we've got this, we'll add this. And instead of this being, what kind of cluster are you running and how much do we pay? So we're running a EKS cluster right now. And we probably spend on the cluster itself around $200 a month. Yeah, something like that, 200, 250. It's probably gonna be a bit more now with like the addition, obviously another node. But we are definitely probably getting the best bang for our buck for the price. Okay, refresh. Where's preview? Here we go. So preview diff non-interactive stack. So preview diff non-interactive and then stack. That's all we have to do. Cool. Okay, so let's do this now. Let's say just preview prod, right? Skip preview. Wait, what? Diff wait, that's what I said. Oh, not refresh. Sorry. Preview. Right? And you can see here that really all I'm doing is I'm just like taking commands that I run, right? And what? IAM role, delete. Why does this want to delete itself? Wait, what? Desired size 3, max size 5, IAM role. EB, no, that needs to be there. Why is that trying to be deleted? Node group, maybe? Yeah, this is it right here. Node group role, node group, node rule. Why do you want to delete this, though? If I delete it, it's going to want to recreate it. I think this is a bug. If I'm not mistaken, I think this is a bug where it's going to delete it for a second and then it's going to like want to re-add it. One to update, one to delete. All right, so then whatever. We'll just do it really quickly. If not, I'll just re-add the role because it's like literally right there. All right, update. And we will do this, update, and then update is diff non-interactive stack. Yes, diff non-interactive stack. And then, yes. Is your monitor from a cluster or on your computer? Is your monitor from, oh, you mean on the right there? No, that's from my computer. Yeah, that just monitors my computer. There's another one that monitored the cluster though. Okay. Just update prod. Okay, let's see what happens. So, there we go. Set that from 3 to 5. Good stuff, good stuff. All right, let's go back here. Hang on. Okay, cool. Not ready to update to add-ons. Okay. Compute. You gonna give me another node? You gonna give me another node or no? It might not be there yet. It might not be ready to give me a node yet, chat. It might not be ready yet. Updating. Desired size 3, max size 10 out of 5. Okay, you should be able to update. Don't just like bork my whole cluster now, okay? Why are you taking so long? Hang on. Okay, cool. So partially upgraded. This is fine. The delete on the roll failing is totally fine. But this looks like... Just refresh prod. Did it actually get updated though? Yeah, okay, so it did. So it looks like hopefully here in a second, I'm hoping we should get a new node. If not, I might just manually add it. So desired size 3. Let me go to this node group. Health issues node. IAM role, auto scaling, subnet 3 desired. my releases there. Nodes. Are you going to give me one, or am I just going to have to give you one? I might just have to give you one, Should we just do that, chat? Should we just give it an additional node? 3 nodes, 5 nodes maximum. So yeah, so it looks like the desired size probably isn't changing, but that's also probably because we don't have an... Okay, I know what we're going to do. Let's set the desired size to 4? 5. We'll just set it to 5 for right now. Number, value, node, upgrade, configuration. What? Oh, I see. Desired size 5, minimum size 3, maximum size 5. Save changes. All right. We should get 2 more nodes now. And hopefully these 2 nodes will offset the cluster and make it so this works. Not yet. 5 nodes. 3 nodes. I guess I could go to EC2 really quickly and see if we're getting them. Five. Shabam. There we go. All right. Yep, they're coming. Come on now. Oh, that's why it's freaking out. I see. This thing seems like it's trying to like kick all of its processes. Just this one node. You notice that? All these other nodes are running like without a single problem, but that one particular node, it looks like every single one of its processes like trying to be kicked. That's weird. We should have more nodes coming in here in the next few seconds. Like, there's that. Why aren't we seeing them getting added to the group? There they are. Okay. Whew. Freaked me out there for a second. All right. So with these added, right? Evicting yeah, that's what we're going to do next. Yeah. Well, first we're going to make sure that the cluster actually stabilizes, right? So these containers should start falling off and should start spreading to these other nodes, right? So we're going to make sure, like, and we also want to like make sure yeah, see, there's our cloud connector. Bam. All right, cool. Awesome. Very cool. So bam, look at that. We're back online. So that definitely helped. Dope. Yeah. All right. It looks like they're balancing out now. As a matter of fact, let's try going to K9s now. I bet you it loads. Maybe not yet. There it is. Yeah, look at this, chat. Look. Yeah, we got a bad crash. Oh, look at all this. Oh, dude. Oh, okay. I know what happened. Yep, look at this. It's a cron. It's a cron that went into a loop. This is why you got to give yourself cluster space, chat. Yep, I already know what the problem is. It's right here. The crons got basically locked up because they weren't able to run. Yep. That's why we've got like 500 pods and like everything's locked up. All right, I see. Hopefully that'll, there we go. That'll take care of a lot of these. Get rid of all these. And this'll definitely clean up the cluster now. So yeah, so that's basically what happened, chat. The cluster, oh my god, there's so many of these. The cluster basically got stuck in a circumstance where it was trying to schedule a ridiculous amount of pods that it could not schedule. And so because of that, it just deadlocked, basically. All right, let's get rid of all these. I wish there was a quicker way for me to be able to like select everything. That would be nice. Yo, what's up, Alex? How's it going? Yep. All right. It looks like these are actually processing. Like it looks like they're actually running. Event subscription. There are still 300. I know, okay? Calm down. I'm working on it. The reality of it is they're also going to start running. So, there they go. Yep, there it is. The bot's getting back now. I just hope I hope we didn't like spam a shit ton of stuff. All right. Let's do that. That's like half of them. Oh, there's our go live. The go live worked. Yo, it finally worked. everything is going out now. Oh, that's fucking hilarious. Everything's going out now. Hey, well, at least we know that, you know, it worked. There's a shot. Yeah, oh wow. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that better late than never. Yeah. Hey, at least we have it, man, right? They still just keep coming. What is it? So kube control at get po cron. Yeah, no, but I'm wondering like I'm wondering if I can like let's do like I would love to be able to just like shift all essentially, you know what I mean? Like that would be very cool if I could just do that. Like, I wish I didn't have to do this, I guess. Does that make sense? Dude, I deleted 150 of them, and then, like, 300 appeared out of nowhere. I hate having to do this kind of thing. Is there... Okay, hold on. Kube control... remove all pods with name. I'm supposed to be, but the cluster decided to take a crap on us, so I'm... You might be right on that one. You might be right on that one. App. Cron. Hold on, chat. Give me 1 second. There's no way I can delete these. Because, I mean, unless I can delete them from like a namespace. Can I do namespace? Namespace equals offsite cron event subscription. Yeah, I need a better target. And the problem is that the names are all different. Can I do like a wild card? Cron event subscription like that. Regex used for validation is, wait, what? Kube control regex selector. No, dude. Need like inlined. Try app selector. Label. I don't know. I'm not going to be able to do all these. What Whisper says, or get rid of the whole namespace. Can you describe a prod to see? Yeah, I already looked at the labels. The problem is there's nothing that like unifies them as labels. You know what I mean? Filter mode, command clear, aliases, attach, kill, logs, refresh. I mean, they're running. That's the funny part is they're running. Like it's actually not that big of a deal. Like they're just gonna slowly go through everything now. Whereas, you know, I'd rather just kill them all. But it's all right. I'll just do this really quickly. Think you remove the desired size from Pulumi, but it's required. Yeah, I don't disagree on that one either. Obviously, not the most fun thing, but because these are crons, they all have unique names. And honestly, until I know how to like regex it, which I don't know how to do, or even if I can, this is probably just going to be the quickest way. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, so we got on to the point where basically Kubernetes kept scheduling crons even though we couldn't, and so it locked it up. Which I should have been aware of. It's something I am obviously super privy to, but I just wasn't thinking about it. Or add a unifying label in the future. Yeah, I mean, dude, I really don't want to have to like delete. If I delete the namespace, that sucks because I delete a lot of other resources with it because everything's in the namespace. Oh, you know what I could do though? Okay, I know what I could do. Hold on. I know what we can do, chat. Check this out. Check this out. I got it. This is an idea. Check this out. Let's go to the cron job itself, right? And active. Let's do delete it. Let's just delete the jobs, just the cron jobs. There we go. Is it still going to try doing it? No, it should start cleaning these up. Bruh, are they still going to try and schedule? Okay, thank God. I was like, dude, these should not be scheduling after I delete the definition. There we go, chat. Now our cluster's going back to its normal size. There we go. There we go. All right, there we go. Now we're back down to normal size here. That was fun. Not heard of K9s before? Oh yeah, K9s is awesome. K9s is like if you need a Swiss Army knife with Kubernetes. It's a great, just super quick usable tool. If you need something more, obviously, like use something more advanced. But as a CLI tool, you know what I mean? It's a great thing. All right, so we're definitely starting to get stuff working here again. You can see some of these are coming back up, like the APIs and stuff. Event sub event is actually running now, which is great. So we should be able to even do ping, right? Yeah, there we go. Dope. Can I explain what happened? Yeah, absolutely. So check it out. Here's the issue. This Kubernetes cluster that we have right now is essentially static for the time being. It's static mostly because we don't really have massive scaling concerns, and we want to save money. Like, that's just the TLDR, plain and simple of it, right? Essentially, because it was static, right? We were sitting on like the teeter-tottering edge of how many containers we could run in the cluster, right? During that same teeter-tottering edge, we also were scheduling cron jobs, right? We were scheduling a lot of cron jobs. And what happened is we teeter-tottered, and then we went beyond what we effectively like expected to be able to provision in space. And so it just kept scheduling and just kept scheduling and just kept scheduling and just kept scheduling. And because of that, we found ourselves in a scenario where this cluster got locked up, and now we have like a lot of like dead pods and stuff like you can see here. And that's like what I'm trying to clean up right now are these pods that are really, they need to be kicked. We need the cluster to restart them and stuff like that. As a matter of fact, I might even just kill the ones and crash loop back off as well, just because they'll just get restarted. But that's really what happened. And so we're just basically fixing the cluster right now. We actually do, believe it or not. We actually do have some alerting and visibility and stuff like that. We don't have it for this though, obviously. So this was a blind spot for sure. Yeah. There we go. And so you can see, here we go. These new containers are now getting scheduled. We need these terminating ones to get out of here. We really do. It might mean, are these all on the same node? They are on 59. Yeah. Okay. So everything that's on 59 is kind of like stuck in a deadlock right now. So I might just kick node 59, honestly. We might just kick that node. Because it looks like, everything, like it doesn't even look like I can kick that out of it. Or we might just delete it. Honestly, it might be better just to delete the node and get a new one. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah, I'm just going to delete it and get a new one. Another nice thing about having auto-scaling groups and stuff like that, when you find yourself in a scenario where a node just goes, right, and you have containers like this, just give yourself a new one. Just delete it. So that's what we're going to do. Here it is right here. Cool. We're going to do this, actions, and this is what we call Chaos Monkey. Is that what they call it? Yeah, Chaos Monkey. Terminate instance. So we're going to terminate, delete EBS volumes. EBS back in the default action is for the root EV to be deleted. The term is terminated. Storage all local drives. I think this is fine, right? Should we give this a few more seconds to see if it, like, actually what's interesting is it looks like everything has rebalanced itself out for the most part, right? It's just 59 is kaput. Yeah, it looks like 59 is just kaput. I think I can do this. Let's just give it a shot, chat. Whatever. Whatever happens, happens. Okay, so this is this 59 though? I want to make sure I'm not deleting the wrong node. 172.31.38.59. 172.31.53.100. No, 31.38.39. 31.38.39. Or 38.59. Sorry, 59. Yeah, all of these are basically... You know what? I'm actually just going to try restarting it. Let's just reboot it. Just reboot it first. Maybe the reboot will do something. I don't know. Are you planning on running some nodes as spot in the future? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, to save money, for sure. Right now, we really just need to like get all of this stuff in place. Ideally, it'd be great just to run all of the nodes in spot, honestly. But there's probably a couple we'll have to make sure are not spot databases and stuff like that. All right, let's see if this works, huh? So let's go to nodes. You can see that it's still not ready, right? Thank you for the follow. It's good to know that the lights are working again. That's good to know. We're still not getting it as ready. Yeah. I'm wondering if it just got it. Oh. Hey, look at that, chat. Just needed a little kick. Look at that. Just needed a little kick, see? That's all. That's all it needed, chat. Just look at that. The cluster's responding now. It's kicking the nodes it doesn't need. See, this is the problem with the reconciliation loop, all right? This is the stuff that, like, if you don't understand Kubernetes, how state is maintained, how it works, you're just going to sit here your pants. Literally, that's it. Although I didn't get to bleep myself on the first part. I apologize for that. But, like, if you don't understand that, like, we're locked. Why are we locked? Well, we're locked because of this reason, and we need to let the cluster naturally unlock itself, right? We want state to naturally reconcile, right? I don't want to have to go in and be like, delete a bunch of stuff. Probably the best decision in the deletions that I made was just deleting the crons, right? More than likely just because they weren't as vital, right? But yeah, like everything else, like, should have been able to pretty easily reconcile once the cluster was able to, again, regain state. And so you can see, yeah, look, now we're all good. Everything's back to normal now, except for, I guess, this last replica and this notification thing, which if we wanted to, we could probably just kick that and get a new one. And then this one should, yeah, there you go. Immediately starts running. All right, there we go, chat. Hell yeah. Well, the cluster's back to normal now. Thank goodness. That's nice. We're going to have to add a couple things to the board. So analysis, how would you make sure the cron jobs don't get under-scheduled? So this drunk Dane, here's the real analysis here, and here's the problem with EKS. EKS is bare bones, dude. It's unfortunate, but it's true. It's so bare bones. And you really have to, like, add everything that you want to it for it to work the way that you want it to. And so, like, that's why, like, they give you these limitations on, like, specific sizes of, what's it called? Specific sizes of, like, how many pods you can put on an instance, right? Or other limitations and stuff like that. One of the things that's a bit of a bummer for sure that, like, even Azure does out of the box is it handles auto scaling. Like, it handles actual pod auto scaling the way that it should. And basically that makes it, the Kubernetes part pretty nice. You don't get that with EKS, unfortunately. You don't get that with EKS. So it's like not out of the box. No, you have to enable it. Hang on one second. But yeah, no, you have to enable it. So you actually have to enable. So it has auto scaling groups. This is where it gets confusing, right? It has auto scaling groups, right? But those auto scaling groups are not necessarily indirectly or directly connected to the service plane to scaling it itself, right? It doesn't have a turnkey solution for it, exactly. And so when you ask me, like, what was the problem? Analysis mode, right? We're in, what is it called? Retro, right? We're having a retroactive right now, right? Yo, inexpensive, dude. Thank you for the 7 months, man. Thank you. Hello. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you are well. What am I doing right now, Socrates? So right now, I'm basically, honestly, we're going through just a look at what just happened. We went live like an hour and a half ago or something like that. And the TLDR is that the whole cluster that runs all of Quark and everything got deadlocked. The reason why I got deadlocked was because I provisioned a static Kubernetes cluster. What does that mean? Basically just means that it doesn't ever try provisioning more nodes. We also do what is called run crons. We run a lot of crons. If you don't have enough space to run all of those crons and maybe even a bit more, right? And you don't finish that task before the next task is started, then it can essentially schedule more tasks. It's like, all right, well, I'm just gonna wait for that next one, and then when that next one comes through, we'll get that one, and then when that one comes through, we'll get that one, and then when that one, and that's when like your state really starts getting locked up, because it's running, like Kubernetes is running. Kubernetes is saying like, hey man, every 5 minutes you wanted a new container, that's what I'm doing, right? But then Kubernetes is also going, hey man, I ain't got enough space for this container. I don't know what you were expecting, and that's the deadlock. That's where you lock in. You obviously don't want to overscale, so you set limits for that overscaling and stuff like that. But the reality of it is, the best way of fixing this would have simply been to have scaling. Yeah, just say, all right, I'm going to maximize at my cost here, and I'm going to minimize at my cost here, right? Whenever we're running containers, sure, it allows it to go up to 5, but in a scenario where, we don't need to be running all those, we'll go down to 3 or something like that, right? The scaling really would have just simply fixed the problem. Because it was a static cluster, it got deadlocked, and so that made me have to add new nodes to let things start to get scheduled, right? And then once things started to get scheduled, I was then able to, remove a lot of the extra overhead and get rid of all of those like locked processes. And again, it's, if you were like live, production and dealing with this, you just have to accept the fact that like it's going to take a second. You got to clear the state. You got to get it reconciled. You've got to get Kubernetes scheduling processes again and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just a part of the job. Yeah. You can enable auto scaling in your for nodes in your cloud with an HPA. Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. Socrates is that AWS doesn't come with an HPA out of the box. Azure does. Azure has an HPA already built into the cluster, which is very nice. So it doesn't have a solution for that. Yo, Neochromer, what's up, dude? How's it going, buddy? Hey, quick question for you regarding scaling. Did you ever have to scale ECS service based on request response time? No, because I don't think that's a good scaling metric. Here's why. Request response time means how long it takes your server to give a response back to the client making that request, right? And realistically, you really should not be putting up connections for more than like 60 seconds. You know what I mean? If you have a need for like literally being like every time, I open up a request, it's going to take like 10 minutes for some reason, then you might want to figure out just a different way of scaling where maybe you scale like way more for requests, right? So it's like almost 1-to-1 where every request come in gets I know that sounds crazy, but like I don't know what you're doing, so I don't know why you would have to scale for request response time. But if you do, right, like I don't know, maybe it's like a stream, right, where you're opening up a connection, you want that stream to exist for a while, but then you want it to close. I don't know, but you can do that. You can do all sorts of stuff. Yeah, it's just you have to get those metrics. But yeah, you can totally scale off of request count, basically. That's what we do at Hippo, actually. We scale off of request count. Alchemist, what's up, man? How's it going? Resident sleeper, love it. All right, well, good. I'm glad to see that like the bot's working again. I'm even happier to see that the go live notification went out. Like that's dope. I wasn't even expecting that to work, so that's cool. Yeah, it looks like the cluster really did reconcile itself, which again is what you want. We are gonna have to re-add our cron jobs. That's a bit of a bummer, is what it is. But yeah, at least we got the cluster back into place. Also, also somebody said earlier, did the cluster not update because of the size? It actually did. The node group did get updated, and it did go from maximum and minimum, because before the maximum was 10 and I saw it update to 5, right? The reason why the desired size did not change is because it does not have a horizontal load balancer. Because the cluster doesn't know how to change this desired size dynamically, which is what a horizontal load balancer does. It basically looks at your cluster and then interacts directly with Amazon and your specific, like it knows how to communicate over the API to the specific, request it needs to make to change this value for you, right? And that horizontal load balancer is not there. It's not a part of the it's not a part of the cluster. So this doesn't get changed, even if I change it. So when I removed desired size, that's what I wanted, right? But it's just me removing my management of it. I need to give management of it to something else, right? Okay, cool. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I don't want to get super diverged here because, again, we just spent the last hour and 37 minutes debugging the cluster. I do want to hop into the pills stuff. We are going to be doing Nix stuff today, and that was like the really big goal here. We are going to be jumping back into the 8th chapter of our Nix pills series, which is going to be working with generic builders. If you guys don't remember, basically catch up from last stream, we've been going through this series called Nix pills. If you guys do not know what it is, you can do I think it's pills, Nix today. I don't know. There you go. It's in the today. There it is. The link in the today basically will take you to the one that we're doing, but this is a series to help educate and learn and just get your feet wet with Nix. And so we've been going over this for a few reasons. One, I'm interested. I want to, get a good understanding of it. Two, I'm also making a YouTube introductory YouTube video on Nix, so it's very helpful to go through all of this. And three, obviously, it helps you guys understand it a bit more too. And so we've already gone through a lot of it. We've already gone through why you should give it a try and how to install it on your operating system, how to, enter basic environments with Nix and the language and functions and imports and our first derivation, right? And working with derivations. So we're getting to the point now where, we've kind of got a decent idea of how Nix works from a language perspective, how Nix works from a an operating system, or basically how it stores files and all that kind of stuff, and then we've even gone as far as creating a very, very simple Nix configuration that we can then easily build with, right? So now we're getting to a point where it's like, okay, that's great that you have a very simple builder, but maybe we want to actually try packaging something with Nix, maybe even creating our own builder and getting an understanding of what can work and what can't work, right? And stuff like that. So that's really what we're going to be doing next, with the goal of essentially going through this whole page, and hopefully even being able to go into the next one potentially as well. But I am going to get up super quickly just to go to the bathroom and kind of just reset from that. And then when I get back, we'll go ahead and jump directly into this. Okay, so I appreciate the patience, guys. Again, if you don't understand what happened with the cluster, the TLDR is that it got what I like to call, or what a lot of people have called before, state locked, where it's continually trying to schedule more and more containers, and it just can't do so. Not having auto scaling, big factors to why that can happen, things like that. So yeah, gotta balance things with the content, most of which is way over my head. Gotta expose. Yeah, of course, H-Crans, by the way. And just before I take my break, I do want to say this: welcome to everybody here. I really appreciate you guys being here. If you are new to our channel, be sure to check out this little blurb right here. Basically, we are a variety channel hosted by myself, BGs, with my good friend Atoda. We also have a fantastic community in our Discord. A lot of the stuff that we go over, whether it's Nix, whether it's Kubernetes, whether it's automation, DevOps, whatever, it's really talked about constantly in our Discord. So if you ever want to be around other engineers asking these questions, helping you and stuff like that, you're welcome to join ours. It's a pretty awesome place. Also, hey, just so you know, we also have a YouTube, brand new YouTube. Not brand new, it's been out for a little while now, but it is something we're working on. I've got a few videos already on there if you guys are interested in checking them out. Some related to automation, some related to Nix and stuff like that, with a lot more to come. But we also have our VODs. So if you're ever curious about, if you ever missed a VOD or anything like that, you can easily just go to our Alta4 archives, where you can then go back and see a previous VOD. And all of this series is up there, or will be up there, and stuff like that too. So it's definitely nice. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to take a super quick break. Yo, Critzy, what's up, man? I'm just about to take a break. Just give me a second. I will be right back. I'm going to run an ad during this break as well. If you guys don't know why we run ads during breaks, it's basically just to please our Twitch overlords. We're not the biggest fan of ads, but unfortunately, sometimes we got to run them. So we try and run them during our breaks so you guys don't miss anything. If you don't want to see ads, by the way, you can subscribe to the channel, or you can use Twitch Turbo if you have it. All right, so I will be right back, guys. Give me a second. When I get back, we're going to hop into generic builders with Nix. I'll also give a little bit of a basic overview of kind of where we left off and what we're doing and stuff like that. So yeah, give me a second. I will be right back. And when I get back, we'll hop back into it. Okay. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that, chat. I can't believe my cluster let me down like that, man. Definitely need to get some kind of alerting in place. And I was thinking about that too. I just don't think that type of problem is an anti-pattern to Kubernetes, you know? So it's like, it's one of those weird things where it's like, yeah, it happened, but like, that was by choice. You know what I mean? Again, if it can't scale, there's just really nothing you can do about that, you know, except for making it so that it can. Hey guys, just a question. I'm a Belgian guy. I will finish my network school in 2 years if all goes well, and I would like to move to the U.S. with my wife because west of Europe is collapsing. For you, where is the best place to find in the networking domain? Thanks for reading me. Yeah, of course, man. I'm sorry about the situation that's going on and what you're having to deal with. I mean, there's definitely a lot of opportunity, to be fair, in a lot of parts of Europe, not necessarily just, you know, Western. So, you know, that's just something to throw out there. There's a lot of great companies just in other parts of Europe. If that's not where you want to be, though, or you're not interested, or maybe, you know, you do want to just come to the United States, networking is a pretty open area. It you know, it depends on what you're trying to do. If you're like, you know, you're going to be like a network administrator somewhere, or, you know, you're going to be wanting to work on other things. Like, it really depends. But I definitely think networking is you got a lot of good opportunity kind of anywhere you go, probably, for the most part. I would say, yeah, you know, lost my train of thought there for a second. I would say, you know, try and find some place you find yourself to be happiest with, and then try and compare that to the job market in the area, you know. Another thing too, no kicks, you know, if you do come to the US, you have to figure out some way with like visa and stuff like that. That could be challenging. Not that to say it's definitely not possible. It's more so to say that, like, American companies, some of them at least, like, don't hire outside of the United States. And so that's just another challenge as well. So I'm just putting out a lot of different, like, things I can think about with regards to your question. I think the where is going to be more of just about where you're at least in the US. Like, there's a few, you know, definitely a few big places, whether it be the East Coast or the West Coast. Yeah, you got a lot of questions you got to answer yourself, honestly. But I guess what I mean to say is in summary, yeah, networking, you should definitely be able to find something. It just depends really on what that something is going to be. How do you find those great companies in the EU? Is there a list? So yeah, I mean, I definitely understand your sentiment there. There's like a decent list on, what's it called? GitHub. I know that, like, GitHub, actually, if you just search, like, you know, remote European companies, right? GitHub, there's like open source lists that people maintain and stuff like that. So there's definitely places you can find, you can definitely find on the internet that are actually valuable and helpful. Okay, chapter 8, generic builders. All right, so chat, let's talk really quickly about Nix, what it is, and just kind of catch you all up to speed on what we're doing here, okay? The TLDR is that I work in DevOps, and quite daily, I, you know, deal with things like having to build software, package software, distribute software, all of that kind of stuff. And, you know, we do this in a lot of different ways today. We either have, you know, build systems and tools that we use together to kind of, like, you know, build a process and a system for us that helps us, you know, deliver our software essentially. There's also complete solutions that we rely on, like containerization and stuff like that. There's a lot of things out there, right? And when we also talk about having like a complete closed loop where like that process is the same from the developer experience to the deployment experience, that is also where, you know, more tools come into play, more options, things like that. And I, for a long time, like, I've, you know, kind of slowly found tools that individually go together that really help solve this problem for me. But as I've gotten older, I've been doing this for like 10 years now. You know, I also find it very interesting when you know, there's a specific tool built for a specific job. And up until now, I would say I've probably used Docker the most as in a comparison here to, you know, building software, packaging it, shipping it, all that kind of stuff. And then again, various tools under that, you know, whatever essentially goes in that Docker file to build it. Nix is essentially focused on solving that exact problem that I just talked to you about. Building software having tools around building software that are really good and allow you to have a reproducible output anywhere, right? From dev to production or deployment. And so one of the things that honestly really fascinated me about Nix really was the idea that you just don't need containers, or at least a lot of the things that you may use in the development process, right, of containerization, you might not need, and you actually might not really even need to worry about containers until, you go to the distribution part or the deployment part, which, at that point, developers don't even touch. And so this is where I kind of started to become fascinated with Nix, the language, Nix, the operating system, and Nix, the package manager, each of these different parts, and how they work together to essentially give you that option. It's called Bottom, my dude. Yo, what's up, Humble Feather? And Maverick, hello, Maverick, I don't know. So Nix is really about building software, right? And if you've ever, had a scenario where you've, had a Docker file and then you've managed it over a period of time and then something changed and that broke, or other scenarios or problems like that, there's definitely a lot of things that Nix aims to solve in regards to those problems. Reproducibility, compatibility, and a lot of other like user experience and things like that. Ideally, a big comparison as well between the two is Docker is imperative, meaning you basically copy commands that you want to run, and then it runs it for you, hoping that you, by the time you're done running those commands, you get the output you desired. Nix is declarative, and so the idea behind it is that Nix is more of configuration focused, where you give it parameters, options, and those produce a build or derivation, as we call it. And again, we've talked a bit about why you should give it a try and installing it on your system. But the big thing I really want to make sure that I readdress here before we move forward is that it's a language for starters, and we're going to be working with the language the most today. Nix is what we call a holy trinity. Technically, it is it is three things. It is not just one thing. It is three things. And if you join our Discord. If you do join our Discord, you will be able to see, hold on, I'm trying to find where is it? Here it is. Yeah, the Nix Trinity chat. This is the Nix Trinity. So Nix is not a package manager. It is not an operating system, and it is not a language. It is actually three things. It is the package manager, it is an operating system, and it is a language. These three things combined is what makes Nix, and what essentially makes it do what it can do. So we're going to be working with the language today. The language will be working with the package manager, and I'm working on the operating system. So actually, the operating system you see me using right now, this is NixOS. But we're not going to be really using the operating system except for more of just using, Nix itself. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's three things. One of them is an operating system. Yeah. All right, so generic builders. Let's hop into it, and a bit of this will start making more sense, I think, just by example. So we're going to go into Nix Explained. Perfect. Okay. Welcome to the 8th Nix pill. Oh, let me zoom in a bit here. Sorry. There we go. Welcome to the 8th Nix pill. In the previous 7th pill, we successfully built a derivation. Now, if you do not know what a derivation, chat, is, it is essentially a package. We don't call them packages because they are used for more than just packages. They can also be used as dependencies. They can be built themselves. And so they're called really derivations, or a specific set of changes that are built and stored. And you can have 9 different derivations of the same, if we're talking about Ansible or Vagrant, you can have 9 different versions of them on the system. We use Vagrant at work for spooling up dev machines. How does NixOS fit into all of this? So with the Vagrant idea, the best way of describing it is you would run NixOS with Vagrant, and then you would provide NixOS a configuration file. And that configuration file would then set up the whole operating system, the the whole operating system, the user environment, all of the packages, everything. That's so Vagrant wouldn't do any of those other things. Vagrant would just literally provide the file to NixOS, and then NixOS knows how to configure itself basically because it uses the package manager to do that, and it uses the language to evaluate all of those different different expressions and do it. So same thing with Docker, actually. Docker, with a Docker file with Docker, you would really just use a NixOS Docker file, and then you would just provide it the configuration, and then the Docker file, like the Docker build, would actually just run Nix build, and then it would set up the whole thing for you. Okay, cool. So in the previous 7th pill, we successfully built a derivation, right? Again, we just said the derivations are packages or basically, outputs of changes. We wrote a builder script that compiled a C file and installed the binary under the Nix store, right? And so we did. We wrote a basic, very simple hello world, and that hello world wrote to a binary and got added to our Nix store. And again, I highly recommend checking out the VODs or subscribing to the YouTubes so that when the VODs go out, you can see them on YouTube as well. You can watch the Twitch VODs now. The YouTube VODs need to be uploaded and cut and stuff, so it's a little bit more. Packaging GNU Hello World. In the previous pill, we packaged a simple C file, which was being compiled with raw GCC call. That's not a good example of a project, right? Many use auto tools, and since we're going to generalize our builder, it would be better to do it with the most used build system, right? GNU Hello World, despite its name, is a simple yet complete project which uses auto tools. Fetch the latest tarball here. Okay, cool. So we've got the tarball. Does it actually want me to download it though? I guess I could do that. Okay, wget. Cool, we got it. Let's create a builder script for GNU Hello World, hellobuilder.sh. Okay, so we're going to create a file, hellobuilder.sh, right? And in it, we're going to say export path. Oh, wait, hold on. Need to fix tree sitter. No, that's fine. Everything else is broken today, so why not NeoVim too? That sounds great. Hold on. Vim, C compiler, no C compiler found. C, GCC, C lang. Ugh. You're killing me. All right, we can fix this. Let's go to our dot files. Yeah, I know. Calm down. So I need to add a package here. Config packages. Add GCC, I guess. Is that one of the ones it wants? GCC? C-lang, yeah, it wants GCC. Okay, switch. Just give me GCC. So the problem that I have is I need to update all of my tree sitter parsers, but I guess I didn't have GCC, so it couldn't do it. So I'm just gonna add GCC to my environment. And by the way, Humble Feather, you were just asking about like how does that work? You're literally watching it right now. I added GCC to a list of packages that I need on my computer, and now it's running that configuration, building it. Gonna go download GCC, add it to the Nix store, build a derivation of GCC, right? And then link it to my shell environment so it'll become accessible to me. And then once I open up NeoVim, it'll work. Can you stop? Thank you. There we go. And so now if I exit and then I do nvim, see how now it works? Because GCC is now available. That's the power of Nix, chat. TLDR. Script. Yeah, it's very nice. Very nice. All right, here we go. All right, so we're going to say export path equals GNU tar, right? Bin. GCC bin. Now, you might be asking if you haven't been following with what we've been doing, why am I creating a custom path with random environment variables /bin that look like they're essentially referencing like bin paths, right? Well, this is a part of Nix. Nix by default gives you a empty shell with nothing attached to it, right? And so essentially what we're doing is in this builder to build this software, right? We're telling the script which binaries it's going to get access to when it runs, right? And later on, you'll see with Nix how we actually provide these binary, or how we actually provide these as environment variables, and how these end up populating as real paths, which is what eventually makes it so that we can create a whole, a whole environment with just the binaries we need and nothing else, right? So now if I do tar xzf, right, source cd hello 210, right, configure prefix out, oh no, just out, make, right, and then make install, right? So very simple, very simple. What are we doing? We're creating here, if we move this over here, what are we doing? We're creating a custom path, right? So if we look at this shells, or this string, geez, I can't even talk today. If we look at this string, we'll see a ton of environment variables interpolated with /bin essentially. And that's because we're creating this shell script and we're telling it, hey, these are the paths to the binaries you're looking for. And if I needed node, for example, I would do node /bin, right? /bin, and then I would add it, and now I would be able to use node once I, set it up in the Nix configuration. So this is just shell, chat. This is just a very simple, what we're going to call builder. And the whole idea behind this is a well-defined script that has interfaces that it expects, right? It's expecting all these environment variables. It's expecting this environment variable. It's expecting, this environment variable. It's expecting to run tar and, from the source, run it as an actual tar on a specific compressed file, right? We also, look at this, cd hello. Well, if I give it a file that doesn't export to or unzip to hello 2.0, this would fail. Right, so this is a good example of what I mean by this is just a simple builder that will be able to build our software. Now, honestly, this builder would only work for hello version -2.1.0, right? If I tried using a different version or anything like that, this would fail. There's also other ways we could do this, right, where we could say name, right, and then we provided a name of some sort. But what I'm trying to say is it's up to you on the flexibility of this. But this is just the thing that's going to build your software and then put it in the store for you, right? That's basically what we're doing. And so we've got our path. We unzip our source code, right? We cd into that source code, and then we build it, or we configure it first with a prefix of our out directory, right? And then we actually make install it. Try to catch how's it going? Hello. I was gonna say what's going on, and then I just totally messed that up. All right, so let's keep moving forward, right? So again, simple builder script that can be now, another thing to note, obviously, at a much higher level, right? These builder scripts, you would imagine, get much larger, much more complex, can support different scenarios. Like this is, we're going to build node here. This is a node build script versus a Python build script versus something else, right? So this, again, is just a very simple but more realistic approach to showing how we can build software with Nix, and then make that, very reusable and reproducible and stuff like that. Hi, just found you working as a what admin? Jen admin, need to grow. We'll watch you. Well, hey, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I hope we can help. Oh, no kicks. Oh, dude, I'm sorry, dude. It's not easy to become a U.S. citizen. Not that it is for as professional citizen. Yeah, you're absolutely welcome, my friend. I definitely want to help out. Yo, Finite, what's going on, man? Hello. Welcome to the stream, everybody from Finite Singularity stream. How are you guys? I'm not gonna lie. Right as I was saying your name, dude, it's okay. Listen, it's been a day. It's been a bit of a day. All right, check this out. Oh, my glasses weren't even going down. Before I go live, didn't even know it. Cluster's locked up. Nothing new starting. No notifications go out. Awesome. So go live with no bot services, nothing really. Didn't even realize it. And then after that, my browser starts crashing while I'm live. And a bunch of other stuff. It's been a fun day, man. But we're finally back into Nix. Welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. Sorry. Yeah, no, it's been a day of just technical difficulties, but welcome. I am BG. I am one of the co-hosts of the Alta 4 stream. Thank you for being here. I work in DevOps, so the TLDR is today we are working with something called Nix to building software and trying to build it in a different way. If you ever use like Docker or Make even or anything like that, which is funny because there's Make right there. This is kind of similar to that, but it's a bit more. And yeah, so if you're interested, yeah. Welcome though. Thank you for being here. Yo, Sam Kit Kat, hello. How are you? Mr. Wolfred, hello as well. How's your stream though, dude? How's everything with you? Give you a shout out. Actually, let me give you both a shout out. Shout out to Finite Singularity, and I have to wait. Actually, I can't shout out two people directly after another. I'm using Docker every day. Got kind of boring. Yeah, I mean, and you know, I want to know, and I was talking about this like right before you guys got here, or anyone from the raid got here. It's also trying to solve a lot of things that you can run into with Docker, right? Where, you know, it's very imperative where you say like, all right, I'm just gonna, you know, copy a whole bunch of commands into a Docker file and hope that it works, right? Whereas Nix is configuration based. Like what you see here on the right, or really what you see here now on the left, is literally pretty much the equivalent of a Docker file, right? Where we're telling it like the derivation we want to build, right? I was before any of you guys got here, we were talking about building with Nix and how we call in the Nix world a package really a derivation, which is just a series of changes with an output, right? And so in this case, we're going to build some software, a derivation of that, right? It's going to be named hello, right? The builder is going to be bash. So technically it just means we're going to start a bash shell, right? And then we're going to give it the args of hello builder, right? When we give it that hello builder, which is literally this script right here, this is where one of the things that's really powerful about Nix shines first, which is it gives you a completely isolated, locked off environment, even down to where you can't download packages. It won't let you. And that's because of the level of reproducibility and things like that. So when I run this shell script, not only do I have to tell it the things I want it to do, right? But I also have to tell it the binaries I want, the paths to them. And you'll notice that obviously I don't have real paths here. I've got like environment variables. This is, again, some of that power of Nix where it's able to create environment variables for us. So we can just say like, all right, well, it's core utils name. This will become the path. And then core utils as a binary becomes available to us. Same thing with all of these other things, gzip, cock, and or geoc, or whatever you want to call it. And then the next part is, you know, pretty straightforward, right? At that point, we say like, all right, we have a source environment variable. This tells us where our source files are, or whatever it is. In this case, our source is expected to be a tar or a compressed file of some sort, right? And this is where what I'm showing you guys is just an example, right? I'm not actually saying like this is the way to do it. I'm just simply saying like this is how you can build things with Nix. And so in this case, you know, they're taking the input of a tar.gz, they're unzipping that and then configuring it and making and installing it, right? But because we like cd into hello.2.1.0, then obviously if there's anything else named that, it wouldn't work, right? So this is where, again, you've got to kind of connect the dots a bit here and understand that what Nix is really trying to do in comparison to Docker, right? Where Docker just simply says like, hey, here's a bunch of steps, copy and paste these steps and do it, you know? Nix is saying like, no, we're going to make like well-defined configurations and you're going to pass parameters that like you define what you do with those parameters, right? Well, in this case, this builder expects a compressed tar file of some sort. And again, like I said, opens that directory, configures it, and so forth and so on. So the flexibility in this regard to what I'm doing right now is entirely up to you, but it is powered by very, very well-defined configuration. Stream was good. We were breaking and making stuff while we transfer all of my stream stuff to OBS 28. Nice. Yeah, OBS 28, we have not even done yet. Oh, by the way, let me shout out Sam Kit Kat, by the way, too. Again, check out both of these guys. Fantastic streamers and deserve the follow. Are you on NixOS or just playing with the package manager? No, I'm on NixOS. Yeah, I actually run NixOS itself. Yeah. Oh, of course. Well, we did, then reverted it. What did we do? Yeah, we did. Yeah, we went to 28 for like 9 seconds and then realized a bunch of stuff broke. So we went back. Yeah. Yeah, I don't care that much about new upgrades and a nice new UI to not be able to stream. So that was more for me. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. Just because we got new people here and we're literally only like 8 seconds into it, I'm just going to start from the top. Thank you for the follow, by the way. I tried NixOS 3 Smart 5. I don't know if we have that meme, but did you not like it? Okay, here we go. So chapter 8, generic builders. Welcome to the 8th Nix pill. In the previous 7th pill, we successfully built a derivation. As I've explained to you guys, that's basically a set of changes that we build with an output, right? We wrote a builder and basically a script that compiled a C file, but it's not really reproducible, right? So in this pill, we're going to be doing something that is more of a generalized build script, and we're going to be doing it for the GNU Hello World. So this is technically, I guess, a way of, you can say, building a Hello World specific builder, but as I kind of just mentioned, these builders are just shell scripts or whatever parameters you give it. So, you know, if you want to use make as your builder, you technically could use make as your builder and then give make parameters and stuff like that as well. This is just, again, an example of making something a bit more generalized or a generic builder. So we're going to talk about packaging the GNU Hello World. In the previous example, we packaged a simple C file. But again, this was just one file. It's not like a whole kind of like at least complete example. And so the GNU Hello World, despite his name, is an actual complete project with use of auto tools to build it. And so what we did was we downloaded the tar.gz, or basically the compressed file with all of the source files. And like, what do I mean by that? It means that like if I go to GitHub, right, and then I was like, I want to download a release of something, which ironically I don't have any releases right now, but this is where you see those like list of like source files. Like that is what we mean by a zip of source files, basically. So it's just code, right? And then what we do is we write our, I'm sorry about that. I don't know why that keeps doing that, but we write a very simple builder script that takes parameters. Now, when we talk about like software and what I think is also well-defined software, I think having really good interfaces with well-defined parameters are massively important. And if you think about building software, think about having a Docker file for building just one specific type of software, but then being able to give that Docker file parameters so that it's like much more reusable, right? And the first part is possible, right? You can obviously make a Docker file for a specific piece of software, build it, bam, you're good. But then saying like, I'm going to take that Docker file, standardize it, and then reuse it elsewhere, that's not as easily possible. And that's like what we're kind of really talking about here with Nix, is we're saying like, we're going to use this shell script as a set of steps that we want it to always do, right? But it's just an interface, right? We're going to give it a path of dynamic variables that sets up the environment for all of the binaries we need, right? We're going to give it a source environment variable that references what we're actually trying to build, but then we're going to unzip it always the same way. We're going to go into the cd hello 2. Again, and this is where like, this isn't great, because if we needed to cd into hello 2.1.1, then this build would break effectively. But in this case, we cd into, and that's why I'm explaining that this is just an interface. This is just a shell script that can build any type of software, and it's up to you to define this, right? And so, yeah, so that's what we did. We created a shell script that sets up the path. And again, the thing that's important here is that by default, Nix gives you nothing. There's no pre-baked environment variables. There's no pre-baked binaries. You have to give it those. And so it does help you. And to answer your question, where will it take the environment variables? Nix automatically knows how to inject them, and I'll show you in a second, because there's two parts to this. This is just the builder script, right? Like, this isn't the Nix side. This is us just interfacing with the Nix side to run some commands if we need to. But this doesn't mean we even need to run those commands, right? Yo, standard robot, what's up, man? How's it going? Hello. So in this scenario, we're telling Nix to run this script, and when it does, it's going to inject these environment variables for us, and these environment variables will actually be paths, right? These will be paths to the binaries that we need to run, right? So GNU make, obviously, is for make, right? So forth and so on. So yeah, okay, cool. So like I said, we've got this very simple reusable shell script to rebuild software with, and the focus here being we're rebuilding, hello with make and make install, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to build, or we're actually going to create the derivation configuration, right? Remember, I told you that Nix is configuration focused, and so the idea here is that we essentially want to make it so that we can create a configuration to build this software and run it with Nix, and it'll build the software the same every time. And so what we'll do is this way, we'll say new file, move this over here, file hello.nix, like that. 1 second, chat. And then we're going to edit it, right? We're going to say with import Nix packages, right? And you might notice, remember, I told you Nix is a language as well. We just went from a shell script that, inherits environment variables from the Nix build runtime or whatever, to actually using a language to now defining what's going to run that script and things like that, right? And so what we're doing first is we're saying, hey, in this script, and remember, if you don't fully understand what's going on here, that's okay. Essentially, the language evaluates all of these configurations, right? And so what I'm doing is I'm saying that when you evaluate this file, you're going to evaluate this file as a build configuration. So I'm saying with import Nix packages, and the TLDR on this is, if you're not fully caught up, this is where all of my I don't want to say repositories because that's not what it is, but this is essentially the repository where all of my packages exist. Now, I'm not actually downloading packages. Like I said, everything in Nix is a derivation. What that means, however, is that if I need bash or something like that, right? Nix packages has an expression to show how to build bash. And this import knows how to grab that expression and build bash for my build script. That's how Nix works. It's not about downloading packages. It's about having tons of these expressions, evaluating them, and then building everything that you need all at once together. So we're going to say derivation, right? Matthew, hey, how's it going, man? Yeah, it's been a minute. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Okay, cool. And so we're going to say name equals hello, right? Builder equals, and again, this is that configuration I was telling you about over, imperativeness of copying and pasting, right? We're actually creating something in a language that takes parameters, and these parameters might differ depending on, whatever we're building. Right now, these parameters will be focused on what we're trying to build for hello world or whatever. How is it better than just downloading it? So try to catch, that's a super good question. Let's focus on that just for a second. Say I'm going to build a Node application, right? And say I need a package of some sort, right? Well, maybe not a Node application. What's a better way of, say I'm going to build a, here you go. This is a better example. Say I'm going to build a Docker file, right? And in this Docker file, I need a piece of software, some type of software. Maybe it's curl or something else, right? And in a normal scenario, you do like apt-get install curl, right? And then it like installs it to the Docker file for you, bim, bam, boom, right? But say that file's broken, right? Like, I don't know, maybe the tar.gz didn't upload properly. It's, in some way, shape, or form malformed. Maybe it's even got a hack in it or, malware or something. Who knows? But because I trust where that's coming from, and I'm just saying, like, just download it. You know what I mean? Don't worry about checking to see if it builds properly, if all of the dependencies in it build properly, right? And again, this is the purpose of a build system. I'm not saying that this is like what you should do as your day-to-day life. What I'm saying is if you're building software, these are the types of concerns that you need to be thinking about, right? Every single layer of your application, does it build right? Is it going to work, right? And the more dependencies you lean on, the more opportunity for error. In this scenario, what Nix does is instead of just going out and downloading the package and being like, it should work, right? Nix actually looks at the derivation configuration, right? And then literally builds the software. Like it literally builds everything, right? And what it does is it's lazy in the sense that if it's already built it once, it doesn't have to build it again, right? And that is super helpful when we talk about building tons of software over and over and over and only building what you need. But that comparison, again, of a Docker file that's just downloading something and then just like shoving it in the file or in the image versus actually saying, no, I'm going to evaluate the configuration of the build. Then I'm going to build the thing, right? And then I'm going to build the thing that's supposed to use that thing, right? That makes sure you have a completely reproducible build stack. And that's like what we're focusing on here is building software that way essentially. So as I said, it does mean you're always, anytime you have a new change, you're always rebuilding essentially everything related to that change or, connected to it. However, you then take that build and you distribute that, right? Like that becomes your distributable. That's the other power of Nix. And that's something we haven't gotten to yet, but Nix does have that ability as well, where then you can say like, okay, I want to reuse this in a ton of different places. How can I reuse that package? Now we're full circle, right? This is exactly how that happens, right? And so as I said, right, if I need bash, bash is just a derivation. Look here, nx bash. Look, source. Look, it's just a derivation. Make derivation. Look, right here. Boop. Right? And so what happens is when I go out into Nix packages here to get bash, right, it's evaluated and built using this exact SHA, this exact version, all of these dependencies, right? And that is how we guarantee reproducibility in our builds, right? This is how it works. So yeah, that's basically the difference between the two, if that makes sense. I love your keyboard. I love you. Thank you. You have good taste. I'm just kidding. Not about loving you. I do appreciate you being here and the nice compliments. But we all have our own taste. I just think you've got good taste. Doesn't mean I'm right. But I love my keyboard too. GNU make GCC core utils gawk gn used GNU grep. Cool, right? And so now what I'm doing is I'm telling Nix packages, or I'm telling this derivation really, right, that GNU tar, gzip, GNU make, GCC, core utils, gawk, GNU s or GNU sed. I just realized what that is. GNU sed. Duh. And then GNU grep, right? All of these are going to be added. And then look, actually, spoilers, right? If we go back to the builder, look, GNU tar, GCC, GNU make, core utils, right? Somebody asked, where does that come from? That's where these come from, right? So when we inherit these, we're literally inheriting them, and then we're evaluating them as strings in the bash script, right? And we'll get more into that in a second, but that's the TLDR. This is how we add. So again, if I was like, I need node, right? I would just be like inherit node.js, right? There you go, attribute from. And then now I just do node.js bin, bam. Now I've got node in my environment. So that's how that works. Make sense, chat? Cool. All right, let's keep moving on. Okay, so we've got all of our other binaries that we need for our build. We've got the script that we're going to pass to it as an arg, as well as the builder, which is just bash, right? And the name of the build, which is hello, right? We've got a couple other things we need to do. We need to add bin tools. So bin tools, bin utils.bin tools. I'm going to add that really quickly. Source, right? So this is literally the source code that we downloaded, right? So we need to tell it, hey, what is the source? And if we notice, if we go back to our shell script, right? Source. See? So even source, basically every single one of these things you might notice becomes an environment variable. That's because it does. essentially the derivation, when it goes to build, will take all of these values and give it to you as an environment variable so that you can reuse it in your script. And so that's how we're able to add more to them, is essentially every single argument also becomes an environment variable. So source in this regard literally becomes ./tar.gz, except for this gets moved to the store. So this becomes a bit more than just that. It becomes a different actual path, but it's the file that we needed. Okay, and then system is the last thing. We're going to say built-ins dot current system. Oh, I spelled that wrong. SYS system. There we go. Built-ins current system. Bin utils. Bin utils. Is that really a thing? I guess it is, huh? Bin tools. Okay, cool. All right. And so chat, when we talk again about just trying to compare it to what we know, right? On the left side, oh, come on now. On the left side here, I do not know why it does that. On the left side here, we'll see two things, right? First, our custom builder that we made with the binaries added to the path, right? As well as the steps it's going to take to building our software, right? And then the second thing is our Nix derivation, right? And this is where we import all of our packages to use or any other, derivations we need essentially. And then we create a derivation and we say like, all right, we're not just going to import some derivations or some existing built software. We're also going to build our own software, right? The name of that software is hello. The builder of it's just going to, or basically the thing that runs when we build something. So if you think about a builder in general, right? And you're like, I need to configure it. I want to make it configurable, right? I don't want it to be imperative to where I can just like run commands and stuff, but I want a configurable builder, right? Well, you can either use a binary that already exists that is configurable, right? Or you have to provide it something. So as a person building this, system, you basically go, okay, well, the builder can be anything. The user has to provide that to us. So when we give it bash, we're not actually building software with bash. What we're doing is we're running a bash shell, and then we're running our builder script with bash, right? And so again, like I said, like if we wanted to, this could be make, right? And then make, right? It just means that it's going to run the binary make, and then it's going to give it args. And so if we're giving it those args, we have to make sure that it just would work out of the box. In this case, we create a bash shell so that we have a nice little shell to play in and build software with. But not even that is always required when building software with Nix. So again, when we think about building software, something's got to run something, right? And so in this case, the builder is the thing that actually runs, and then the args are the args that go to that builder. So yeah, we run bash here just so that our builder is a basic shell environment, and then our args is our hello builder, or again the actual builder shell script that we made to run it. We do an inherit, and the TLDR is there's a little bit of magic we're doing here that we're not really talking about. And it's more so around the lines of like this, where we're not actually showing you how we're using some of these variables. So I'm gonna just do this so that this kind of helps you guys. Yeah, so let's do this. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna say with packages, right? I think that's fine. Yeah. And then I'm going to kind of break down a bit more what we've got here and how all of this is working in a bit more of a more easily usable or readable way. Okay. So right now we're looking at a Nix file, right? And in this Nix file, we have a couple of things that we can do. In the very beginning, you're going to notice that we basically create a variable called packages, right? This packages imports our Nix packages repository, as we're going to call it. Again, it's not an actual repository. It's just a big, well, it is a repo. It's a Git repo is what I mean to say. It's not a package repo, but it's just a Git repo with a ton of expressions in it. Like I said, so we're not downloading like literal bash, right? We're just getting the build expression for it so that we can build it ourselves, right? And so that's what this is, packages. These are all of our packages, right? And if I wanted to, I could even kind of dumb this down a bit more, and I could say like, okay, well, I need some packages in my derivation, right? What does that mean? Well, that means that I'm probably going to need to, I'm probably going to need to use bash. So I'm going to do packages.bash, right? And you'll see how we just keep doing that more and more and more, right? Well, the reason why it was written in this form with like the width and the evaluation and stuff is because Nix essentially can make it so that you can have a scope of an object within another object, right? And so if I undo what I just did and I kind of bring it back to here really quickly, after showing you making packages as a variable and then like showing you how we can reuse it, what we're doing here really is we're not even worrying about setting it as a variable or anything, but with Nix, we can literally just evaluate it and make everything inside of this value or this specific repository available. All of its variables within it a variable. So technically, instead of having to write like packages.bash, now I can just write bash, right? Because I'm saying this needs to create a derivation with all of those variables inside of Nix packages, right? Cool. Okay. So yeah, that was just something I wanted to make sure you guys understood is this is a little bit of like syntactical sugar that kind of makes you think that like these are just globally available, but they're not. They're actually becoming globally available because we're using with here. If I used with like this, look at that. See how undefined, 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 undefined. It's saying they're all undefined because like I told you, globally, Nix gives you nothing. You have to give things, you have to set things globally for it to be able to use. And so if I undo that, then you'll notice everything works fine, right? Cool. So as I said, this is again very similar to what a Docker file might look like in the sense of building software, but in the sense of how it actually is created is very different, right? This is a configuration, right? It's not an imperative set of steps, but it's actually a configuration that will run all the time the exact same way with the inputs that we give it, right? So we're going to save this file. This is like, that's it. These 9 lines of code is literally going to build all of our software outside of, again, the hello builder that we created as well. So I'm going to save this. And then I'm going to move forward. Now, we've already done all of this, so we don't have to worry about any of this. Nix on Darwin, by the way, has a little bit of, I guess, a different way of doing it. You need, I guess, a different type of bin utils, clang bin tools _bin. But this is just if you're on Darwin, so that's just a shout out to that. Now we build it with nix build hello.nix, right? And you can launch the result in hello or result bin hello. So let's do that really quickly. So as I said, right, we have our builder script, which is going to be reused over and over by our Nix configuration, right, which we wrote in the language of Nix. And it imports our builder, it adds bash as our builder and then runs our script, right, as an actual argument to it so that basically it can run our builder, right? We pass it a bunch of binaries that become environment variables to their paths, right? And then the source as well and some other things, right? Cool. So we're going to say nix build and hello.nix, right? Hit enter. And some of this might look really familiar, especially if you've ever built C code before, right? Like at this point, this is very, very similar. You're essentially seeing a C application build. But let's go from the top. Now that we're done, let's go to the top and let's, I don't know. Actually, we might not have all that console output, do we? Do we? Yes, we do. Check it out. Okay, so we literally just barely got there. So at the very top, I ran nix build hello.nix, right? And what happened, right? Well, at the moment I hit enter, okay, I'm going to break it down every single step. So at the moment I hit enter, it evaluates the configuration, right? It immediately evaluates it and it goes, okay, I've evaluated it. I now know what this build looks like, right? I know its dependencies. I'm going to store it in the Nix store. So before it even builds the software, chat, before it even builds the software, right, it puts the build derivation configuration in the store for reuse later. So if I do cat and then this, bam, this is, oh, actually, hold on. So it's Nix show store. Yeah, here we go. Sorry. There we go. Wait, what? Might be removed. Wait, what? Is it not there anymore? Oh, it's got to be there. Add root might be removed by the garbage collector. Did you specify add root? Add root? Weird. I don't know why it's not seeing it that way, but if I go this way, you can see that this is the actual configuration, and you'll see it says like derive, hello. It gives the out path to where the actual files will be generated. Unfortunately, this is like not a really good view. I just wish, I'm not too sure on why we can't see it. It's very weird. But anyways, yeah. So once we hit enter, the expression is evaluated and this file is created. And the biggest importance of this file really is to just simply tell where everything is going to go, right? And so if you look closely, you're just going to see a bunch of paths, really. Here's a path to gzip. Here's a path to core utils. Here's a path to GNU grep, right? All of the dependencies that we need. But if we talk about a build system and like needing to build software appropriately, it probably makes a lot of sense to know where everything is and have really good automation around knowing where everything is, right? It's very common whenever we're building Docker files, right, for you to build something and then go like, oh, wait, where did everything go, right? And then you kind of look at it and you're like, oh, crap. Okay, well, let me ls-lh this. And like this solves that problem by simply saying, before we even build the software, here's the configuration and here's where everything's going to go. So once it does that, it then fetches the paths that it needs to essentially build the other software. And so you'll see here it fetches the paths for gzip, for gawk, for GNU tar, for GNU sed, and GNU make, and then it copies those paths from cache essentially. Once it does that, it then starts building everything. And so this is just standard build. At this moment, we're in the build process. So at this moment, we copied the pre-existing builds. So it looks like we actually did copy pre-existing builds that were already available from cache. So you'll see cache.nixos.org. So this is a nice thing about Nix packages where we do actually have a cache available. If this wasn't in cache, I would have to build it. So I want to be very clear on that. This is a nice feature of Nix packages, but if this was my own custom derivations, these would have to be built first. But because these were actually downloaded from cache, we don't have to worry about building those. So again, that's just something to point out. Once we have our dependencies, bam, look at this, building derivation. And so at this moment, this is where we actually go into building the derivation. We start our builder, right? So we create a build shell, we pass the hello builder args, and then that's where we start, actually going through the whole process of using, make and tar and all of that stuff to unzip it and make it and then install it. And so, yeah, once we get all the way to the end here, here's where you'll see a path, right? Nix store, blah, 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 blah. Well, if I copy this path and I do ls-lh or alh, right, you'll see that inside of it, I have a bin and a share, right? And so if I do bin, look at that, hello's there. And I can actually run that path directly if I want. So if I just do that, hello world. However, there is a nice thing about Nix as well when you're building software, at least for local dev, that's very helpful, which is it will actually create a symlink in your current folder to that specific output. And so you'll see here, result is actually symlinked to Nixstore S3, blah, 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 blah. And if we look back at that path that I ran, look at the past, F3, blah, 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 blah. So Nix does do a lot of really nice things that try and like help you get there. Now I can just do result bin hello, and there you go, right? And again, it still exists in the store, but it's symlinked and available to me so that I can use it very easily. Now, if I delete this symlink, doesn't mean that it's gone, right? There it is. It's still available in the store, but it can be garbage collected as this mentioned if need be. But that is a very simple example of creating a generic builder. So let's go into a little bit more, or creating a builder, right? So now let's go into a little bit more depth of making it more generic, essentially. And so what we're going to do is, instead of having a hello builder, right, of just building the hello project, now we're going to focus on building just a more overall generic builder that, again, solves some of these problems that are focused on, like, where it says hello, for example, and the version and some of these other things. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create a builder.sh. So new file builder.sh, right? And then I'm just going to copy and paste all of this, but I will explain it to you really quickly. So the first thing we do is we set E, which is just to set an error for some reason, or not for some reason. If for any reason this build was to fail, then let the script die. Do not let it proceed is kind of the main concern here, and that's why we set E. So if there's an error, it doesn't continue to try running the script. It just stops. The other thing we do, look at this, unset path. Remember, I told you that by default, Nix does not allow anything into the build environment. It is completely isolated. So one of the things that we're making sure to do here is we are making sure to unset any type of path that is already existing, because we're going to override it with our own. And you'll notice that we have 4p in build inputs, right? Just in the previous example, right? If we go back to hello builder, right? And we had like GNU tar bin, right? I told you that arguments become environment variables. So what does that technically mean? It technically means that if you wanted to, you could also pass an array of Nix values. So for example, if I wanted to, if I go back to our hello.nix, instead of doing an inherit, I could say build inputs. And again, I'm kind of giving you guys a little bit of spoilers here. And then do GNU tar, right? Gzip, right? Now, does this mean that I have both in this scenario? Yes, it technically does. It means that once I delete this, right, then I'm only using build inputs, or if I delete the other one, then only other, so that's what I mean by, you can create as many of these arguments as well as if you want. Like if you want to add a value of some sort so that it becomes available to the build, you can. And the main thing to know here is that when it's a derivation, when it's a piece of software or a build of some sort that has already been built, then whenever we evaluate this, these evaluations become paths. And so that's what we're doing here, where we unset the path and then we say, okay, let's actually create a new path export. And we're going to take, instead of just inheriting it, we're going to create an array called build inputs, and we're going to then just iterate through that array in our script. So we're literally using the Nix language in some way to help write our script and have a better, well-defined interface, right? Because now in our shell environment, right, we're not just expecting a bunch of environment variables. We're actually saying, well, no, this is a standardized way that we pass these paths to our shell environment, and it has to be in the build inputs value. If it's not, it won't work, right? And so once we've got our path set up, then we do, again, something similar. We unzip it. So we say tar xf and source again, we're still trying to build hello, but we're trying to make our builder more generic, right? That's the goal here. Is it's not like we're trying to build it any differently in the sense of the output, right? We just want to build it differently. That's it. We just simply want to build it differently. And so in this case, after we unzip it, then what we do is we say for directory in our current location, we cd into that directory. Why we do that is that really what we do? Yeah, for directory in star do If it's a directory, then cd into it, otherwise break. Okay, I see. So what's happening here is we cd into every directory. I actually don't really know what this is doing. Can anybody with like better bash knowledge than me help me understand what this is? Because it looks like we're just it just looks like we're seeding in directories. Like, am I getting that right? That like we're literally just seeding into directories on this? What are we doing here? Oh, let me just look at find a directory where the source has been unpacked and cd into it. Find a directory with a source. Oh, okay, I see. So this is interesting. Basically what this is doing is this just finding the first directory it can cd into, and then it breaks out of it, right? This solves the problem of the issue we had with the other builder of not knowing which directory to cd into. So if you think about it, right, I told you we needed a more generic builder, something that didn't have like static names like hello or 2.10, right? And so this is their way of solving that problem. I don't know if that would be exactly the way I did it. I mean, it's not a bad way of doing it. It just means that like realistically, you don't really know what directory you're going into. And so like what might be a better solution here is just to say build root maybe, right? Again, because remember, you can have custom environment variables and then just do something like that. And this will actually translate it to say the current path. And then you could potentially do something like that. Like that's, again, this is just their way of showing you how to do it. It does not mean that that's the way you should do it or you can do it. There's multiple ways you can do it. By the way, thank you guys for hanging out. I really appreciate it. Donovan, what's up, man? How's it going? Cool. Okay, so then after that, we're in our directory now. Well, now we're just going to configure, make install, right? So at that point, what have we done, right? We've really gotten to a scenario where we are, literally when we're developing, right? We created a new shell environment. We unset our path. We then only added the binaries to that path that we wanted to, right? Nothing else. We then unzip our source code, which is our input, right? Source is right here, right? There's source. Come on now, highlight. I said highlight. Thank you. So there's our source code right there, and our source input, right? So we are expecting, and that's something to note, we are still expecting our input to be a tar, right? So think about that. That's very important to note is we're still expecting our input to be a tar. So if you were like, hey man, I want to build a node application and my node source is this, right? I'm not going to work with this, right? So again, it's just me really trying to show you guys that like it's up to you in how you build the software, how you use the builder and how you configure it, how you run it, right? But it doesn't mean that you can't achieve what you want to. And I think that's something that like has really empowered me over the past, oh, sorry. Hold on one second. Sorry, I had to respond to something really quickly. That's something that's been really awesome to me and really exciting to me as well is I was talking to Atoda about something I'm trying with Nix right now that I am going to share with you guys in the future. And honestly, if I can do this, chat, it could be pretty impactful. It could be pretty cool. So yeah, so it's something I'm trying right now, but I remember talking to Atoda about it yesterday, and he was like, can you wait with Nix? He was like, can you even do that with Nix? And I was just like, I don't know. I was like, let's try it, let's see. And it's basically looking at a different approach to building front ends, which could be really cool. But yeah, when I talked to him about it, he's like, wait, what? Like, because basically you're used to building software, right? Not necessarily front ends. And so he was like, can you do that? And I was like, I don't know. Well, let's find out. You know what I mean? You can build anything with Nix, so you should be able to. So that's what I mean to say is like, there's a lot of flexibility here, right? There's a lot of opportunity for, building it the way you need to. It's just, you define it, right? How long have I been coding for? My whole life. Yeah, I've been doing this my whole life, friend. I more than realistically probably picked this up. My grandmother first started teaching me programming when I was like probably 6, something like that. I got into like DOS and like early command line prompt and stuff like that. But yeah. Has sit and stand always been 5K or was it 1K at one point? No, I think it's always been 5K. It's a pretty big reward, dude. You're physically making me stand for like an hour at a time. Like it's a pretty hefty reward. No, you're fine, bud. You're fine. Okay, cool. So again, that's the I feel like I'm not as good because I started at 19. I'm 24. I would say a lot of the more practical knowledge that I have today is just literally the last 5 to 6 years of my career. Yeah. Like the relative knowledge. I have a lot of old school knowledge that is helpful in random places, but you know, a lot of what I guess because I'm in DevOps, that's not true because I touch every piece of the stack. And so in that regards, like it is a bit different. But yeah, no, with most other things, it's, you know, I don't know, experience. A lot of it is just experience. Did you go to uni? If so, how much has it helped you? Other thoughts? I did. I am not a fan of college. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm just saying it's not for everybody, and I was one of those people it wasn't for. I dropped out. I'm a college dropout, technically. So, yeah. My opinion on if you should or should not drop out or something like that is that's a decision you got to make. I had to make it. It was tough, but I also had a lot of other advantages ahead of me or opportunities, I should say not advantages, but even though, again, I've been thankfully, I had a very, very lucky life. Still, yeah, I had other opportunities in my path that I just decided to take and make my career in my own hands, and yeah, kind of where I got to where I am now. What's up, Flying Wookie? How's it going? Hello. Do you have any videos on advice for people trying to move into more dev from an ops background? Into dev from an ops background? So you're saying like you want to be a developer and you're tired of doing ops? Is that what you're saying? Batch file gaming? Because I don't, to be honest. I went the inverted way. I was a developer and then I was like, I think I'm going to be more of a, I'm going to be more into DevOps and stuff like that. But I will say I still consider myself a developer, so I don't know. All right, so what do we have here? Again, I pretty much already went over this, but let's talk about it really quickly. Exit the build on any error. Again, I told you that once it errors, we don't go any further. We unset the path because it's an initially set to a non-existent path, right? And that's something to note here is because we're like appending paths and stuff, we're not just like directly overwriting it. That's why we unset it, right? We'll see this in detail, how much for each path we append data to path, right? And so that's what we do. We have build inputs, right? And you'll notice that they changed it to exactly what I told you they were going to do, which is instead of just inheriting all those things, you can also just create a value that then gets evaluated as a list of, again, all of those paths that you need. And so after we do that and set up the path, right, we unpack the source. There's the unpack. We find a directory where the source has been unpacked and we cd into it, right? And then we, configure it, we compile it, install. So configure, make and install, right? All clear except for the build inputs. However, it's easier than any black magic you are thinking in this moment. And we've already talked about this, right? And if you've been here in a previous stream, you'll know what we're talking about, where when we have derivations that get two-stringed, right? So if we have a value of GNU grep and GNU sed, right? And we change those two strings, those get evaluated as the paths to where they exist, right? This is a Nix-specific thing, but this is how we get all of those paths populated into our path here in our shell script, right? What we do is we say, okay, well, we're going to have an array of all of our build inputs, right? GNU tar, gzip, blah, 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 blah. And then we're going to evaluate them as strings. And once we evaluate those as strings, they get turned into those paths. And then once we know we have those paths, we can easily iterate through them and add them to the actual path environment variable. And then bam, that's exactly how it works, right? All All right, and so what I'm going to do really quickly is I'm just going to save that, and then we're going to go back to here. Cool. Hi, BG. I hope you're doing fine. Loving the Nix streams. Been watching the VODs for the streams I have missed. Thank you for covering Nix. Yeah, of course. Like I said, this is all really focused on getting YouTube content out as well, and I just kind of realized that, like, I am so new to Nix for me to be able to really have a good opinion on it. Like, I gotta like, you know, Richard Hendricks myself and just lock myself away and learn a whole bunch about it. So that's really what we're doing. You know what I mean? The only time I have to doing this is while we're streaming. So yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Thank you, man. And thank you for the 3 months, dude. Seriously, appreciate that too. Yo, D-Rod, thank you for the 34 months as well, man. Thank you for the continued support, brother, for 34 months. Hope you are well. Thank you, dude. Thank you. But seriously, hope all's well with you. Hope you're enjoying yourself. And yeah. It's been a minute. We missed you at TwitchCon, by the way, dude. We seriously, we were like, where's D-Rod? We were bummed that we didn't get to see you, man. Next year, though. Okay, cool. So we're gonna jump back into a more convenient derivation. I wanted to go, man. Yeah, no, it's okay. It was crazy. It was honestly this TwitchCon. It was a great time. I'm so happy we got to literally, like, every single person we got to see. I'm super happy we got to see them. It was awesome. I think we're gonna do TwitchCon next year a bit differently from a organizational standpoint. However, I don't think it was bad. I think it was awesome for us to just like let loose and have fun. But I think we didn't get to do some things we wanted to do because of just all the chaos and everything we kind of just let ourselves get swept into, which again was fun. However, yeah, there were some things we didn't get to do, which was a bit of a bummer. I've done ops for most of my career and struggling how to learn the dev side of house with an ops background. Normally find videos for vice versa. Gotcha. Yeah. So batch file gaming. I mean, listen, chat is always right. You know, chat knows I love them, and 9 times out of 10, chat is really right. It's one of the reasons why I love our community. A couple suggestions. First off and foremost, all you nerds, get the in our Discord. But no, in all seriousness, we have a really, really, great community that is focused around helping engineers, whether you have questions or things like that. And I think that's just, whether it be in our Discord, you don't actually have to join our Discord, but if, the main point is to join a community that will encourage you to grow, right? You want to surround yourself with people that will encourage you to grow, help you with that growth and things like that. And so, yeah, being in a community, whether it be ours or somebody else's, surround yourself with engineers, right? Like, it's hard to go to your friends who know nothing about programming and then be like, yeah, I've been working on this. And they're just like, cool, man, whatever. I don't know what you're talking about. Like put yourself in that world, right? You got to live, eat, and breathe this. Just do it, What do I use for bleeping? It's right here. If you look at the bottom monitor, it's this guy right here. My bleeper. So yeah, I think if you if I'm giving like real practical solutions that will get you into the mindset of being a developer, and one of them is definitely going to be being around developers, being in the community, talking to people, asking questions, constantly seeing things, and asking questions about them. That was a massive thing for me, was just being in the world. And yeah, absolutely, also building things, being in that world, and then starting to experiment and explore. Atoda, for example, right now, we have 2 streams, by the way. If you guys are new to our channel, hi, welcome. I'm BG, one of the co-hosts of this beautiful channel. My other co-host, Atoda, who's actually in chat right now, he's actually new to programming entirely. I've been doing this for a while, so I've got a bit of a different perspective on a lot of this stuff, but Atoda's very new to it. And he's like, he wants an engineering job. He's like, that's the path he wants to take, and I want to empower him the best I can. But I think one thing that I had to realize even is like, it just takes time. Realistically, if you sit down and just start building stuff every weekend, right? Like just like what he's doing, sitting down any free time he has, building things that are interesting to him or solving problems for him. Just even doing that for a solid year will probably finally get you into a place where like you feel comfortable looking for a job. Like it's a whole new profession, whole new game, whole new set of rules. And it just takes time. You can do it in less, sure, 6 months, I guess, but like the reality of it is you're just not gonna know enough without more time. Time really is the biggest benefit to engineering in a lot of ways, time and experience. And so the best thing I can say is be as effective with your time as possible, right? Be, learning things that are valuable to you rather than just like, random things, right? If you feel like you're just doing random stuff and you're not progressing, then you're probably not, That's probably a good example of, yes, you're absolutely probably not. And you want, like, that's a good gut feeling of like, okay, gotta figure out how to be more productive about it. You know what I mean? But yeah. Yo, what up, Nightshade dude, by the way? Why bin bash and not witch bash? Because Donovan, this is not a shell script. This is actually a Nix configuration. So it's not a shell script. Yeah, that gets evaluated. Honestly, Donovan, you just missed probably most of what I explained to that. So I would probably just check the VOD. But the TLDR is that variable already has the U or has the path in it. Yeah. Been busy, bit of health issues. Oh shit, man. Well, I hope you're feeling better, buddy. Seriously, I hope everything turns out okay. Health issues are never fun. Always never fun. What up, Hapo? How's it going, buddy? Based on Python. What is based on Python? What are we talking about? Sorry, what now? This is not based on Python. No, this is a functional domain-specific language. Okay, so let's keep moving forward. All right. So chat, check it out. So we have a very simple build configuration is what we're going to call it, right? It is a derivation, but the idea here is that this configuration provides all of the options and attributes I need to building, the hello binary, the GNU hello binary, right? And to be clear, to go back to what you're saying, Donovan, of like, why bash? Well, GNU, tar, gzip, all of these eventually get evaluated into environment URLs that are strings. So that will become gzip will become an environment variable, which is a string, which I can then use later if I need to. Okay. So the next thing that they want us to do is they want us to create a more convenient derivation function, essentially. And the idea behind this is we managed to write a builder that can be used for multiple auto tools projects, but in the hello Nix expression, we are specifying tools that are common to more projects, and we don't want to pass them every time, right? For example, the hello project might need, core utils or some other things, but it might not need them for other projects, right? And so the idea here is that we don't want to pass those every time we're using this generic builder. We want even more flexibility around that because our shell script, again, if we look back at the builder script, right, it just takes an array of strings. So technically, it has the flexibility of having a dynamic set of base inputs, right? So the idea here is that we kind of want to make this a little bit more, again, with the power of Nix and the language, we want to make this even more extensible. A natural approach would be to create a function that accepts an attribute set, similar to the one used by the derivation function, and merge it with another attribute set containing values common to many projects. So the idea here is that we're going to lean on the power of a functional programming language, right, which is Nix. And we're going to use that language to basically merge attributes together so that whenever we have new attributes, we can overwrite them. But by default, maybe it'll be using these or, vice versa. And so this is where we're going to take a step further into the Nix world, right? And so I'm going to say new file autotools.nix. I'm going to edit this file. And as I told you, files are evaluated directly. So when I do packages like this, right, ATTRs, right? These are actual, like this is an actual function declaration with the parameter, I'm sorry, these are the actual parameters that I'm passing it to it. So again, I'm getting packages and ATTRs, and then I'm saying with packages. So at this point now I'm actually using the variable or the parameter that I'm passing, right? And then let default attributes, right? So we're going to set a list of default attributes. Builder equals, right, bash. And remember, this is just a variable in Nix. It's not, it's not shell or anything like that. It's just a variable in Nix. Args equals builder, right, .sh, base inputs. That's nice. Very cool, man. Be careful with those links, though. Sometimes they're a little scary. GNU tar. Here, I'm just going to copy all this because I don't need all of that. Get rid of this. Paste that in. We've got all of our base inputs. Build inputs, right? So we're actually adding a whole new. So we've got base inputs, and then we've got build inputs. System, built-ins, sorry. Oh, wait, no. Built-ins, geez. Current system, right? Now, before in this Nix file, in the hello Nix file, right? Comparing these two, this file on the right, we return a derivation, right? We actually return the derivation in the configuration. Here, however, what we're technically doing, chat, is we're creating a function that defines a default value for our attributes, right? But also allows us to pass in other attributes that we can override if we want to. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put that derivation declaration here, but I'm not going to fill it like I do here, right? What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to say, all right, by default, you can use the default attributes. However, I want you to merge left anything that is in the attributes parameter. Does that make sense, chat? So if we do this full circle now, this on the right is just a derivation. We're just returning the actual build configuration itself, meaning that this will return a literal derivation build, right? On the left, however, what we're doing is we're saying, all right, well, we're returning a function that takes on the parameters of packages and attributes, right? And then with packages, we're going to create a default attributes variable, right? We're going to put a bunch of default attributes inside of it. And then when we go to actually create that derivation, right? When we go to actually create that derivation, that is when we say, okay, well, here's our default attributes. And then anything that we decide to use ourselves, right? If I decide to say, you know what? I want base inputs to actually be this, right? Nothing. Then that merge here, right? That merge here will override what was in here with what I put here. This is the next step in showing you guys the level of composing as well as like abstraction, right, with Nix and how you can build things. Over here, I just said, all right, here's my file, here's my config, bim, bam, boom. But then over here, I actually said, you know what? No, I'm going to lean on the power of Nix more, and I'm going to make a function that I can actually reuse and have a bit more of dynamicness. This is where I told you in that comparison of like having a Docker file that you can build, but then having like a Docker file with inputs that you can just like change those inputs and then use for any of your, any of your services that you can't do, that you can do in Nix, right? So with Docker, you can't just take a Docker file and be like, all right, these are the inputs. This is the name of the thing I want to build. Go build it, right? You really can't. You can have base images and stuff like that, but there aren't like inputs and outputs. There's args, but it makes, I don't know, it'd be a little difficult. You'd be doing a lot of if statements and stuff like that because it's imperative. Whereas in this scenario, because we're using a language, again, we're using a language, right? In the other scenario, we'd have to like use bash or something like that because there is no real language to do that with in a Docker file. But because we have Nix, because we have a language, we can actually say, all right, well, I'm going to create a function that you can reuse, and that function will return a derivation of either default attributes or attributes that you provide as a parameter to that function, right? So let's talk about this. So now we have to remember a little bit about Nix functions, right? The whole Nix expression of this autotools.nix, the whole Nix expression of this autotools.nix file will evaluate to a function. As I said, when we evaluate this file, because we declared it as a function first, it's going to need to be used as a function. Here's another example. If I made it an autotools.nix and I just put a string in it, guess what? That will just be evaluated as a string. The value of that file, or the evaluation of that file, is literally what I set it to be, right? And so again, that's why I'm saying in this case it's a function versus the other case where it was just, you know, a derivation or a derivation attribute with an attribute set. The body of the function is simple, yet at first sight it might be hard to grasp. And again, this is where I'm trying to make sure you guys, like, this is the part I want to make sure clicks, right? First, drop in the scope the magic packages attribute set, right? And that's what we do with that with packages. And I told you guys this before, that if I want to make sure that something within the scope of something can just easily access it without me having to be like packages.bash, packages.gnu, packages.gzip, you can simply say with something and then set your attribute set or whatever or other values you need. So that's what we're doing here. We're really kind of expanding packages into the scope of this attribute set here, or this set of variables here. And so once we do that, then GNU tar, GNU zip, or gzip, all these other things just become immediately accessible without us having to do packages dot. So that's the magic that they're talking about here. And then we talk about within a let expression, we define a helper variable, default attributes, which serves as a set of common attributes used in the derivations. And that's what we said, right? We said, all right, well, by default, we probably want these, you know, these specific binaries and stuff. So we'll make sure that these get added, right? And then finally, we create the derivation with that strange expression, right? And I understand that this looks weird, right? The main point is that we're using a special operator here called //, and we're going to talk about it right now. Basically, the // operator is an operator between two sets. And the idea behind it is a result union of those two sets, right? In the case of conflictions between attribute names, the right set is preferred, and that's why we call it merge left, right? We basically merge to the left, and everything on the right is now the value of anything that was on the left. So a couple examples, right? If we kind of like try and follow their thing really quickly, if we just go into the REPL, right? So let's go and we'll say, all right, let's create an attribute set of A equals B, right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to merge, right, using the double slashes, D into that attribute set. So when we do that, look at that. Now we have one set of A, B, C, D, right? However, if I create a new set, I say A equals B, right, like that. And then I merge left again, right? And then I say, actually, I want A to be C this time. And then I hit enter. Look at that. A is now C because it was merged left. And anything that existed before is assumed by this to be overwritten here. And so that's why we have that, right? And so what we're doing in this autotools.nix, you know, function essentially is we're saying, hey, we got some default attributes, right here. Cool. Awesome. And we want to use those by default. However, if I pass in the parameter attributes, which is also or should also be a set, right? Then I'm going to merge left anything that's in attributes over default attributes. That means that anything else is here should exist, right? But it also does mean technically if I wanted to, I could override every single one of these rules or every single one of these attributes easily, right? I could have a completely overrided thing if I wanted to. It does also mean that, like, There's other ways of making this more configurable, but where it's not so like just explicit merging. We're just showing you again, or I'm just showing you through the tutorial what they're kind of trying to exemplify here. Cool. Okay, so exercise. Complete the new builder.sh by adding base inputs in the for loop together with build inputs. As you notice, we passed that new variable in the derivation. Instead of merging build inputs with the base ones, we preserve build inputs as seen by the caller, so we can keep them separated. Yo, what's up, Asteline? Hello. Or Asteline, sorry. I feel like I always say your name wrong. What's up, though, man? How you doing, buddy? All right. Thank you for the follow. Okay, cool. So we prefer so we keep them separated, but it's just a matter of choice, and they're absolutely right here, right? It's just a matter of choice. Then we rewrite hello.nix as follows. Okay, so now we're gonna actually use this function in our previous derivation. So how do we do that? Well, we're just gonna delete everything. All right, so actually, as a matter of fact, here we'll keep the one that we had before at the bottom, and we'll write the new one at the top. All right, so we're gonna say let, and we're gonna say packages. Now notice this, chat. Look at me, senpai. Look at this. All right, notice me, senpai. Look at this. In the bottom example, we evaluate Nix packages directly, and then we just make it available everywhere globally. Right? Now I told you if we didn't do that, we would have to do packages, blah, blah, right? Well, in this scenario, where we actually pass packages as a parameter, we need it as a variable, right? And so we're going to actually declare packages, and we're going to say import, right, Nix packages like this, because we need that as a variable that we can use elsewhere. The next thing we're going to do, right, and this might be, you might be a little ahead of me here, so that's okay. But the next thing we're going to do is we're going to import the thing that actually enables us to create our derivation, right? Now, in this scenario here, derivation, this is a function, right? This is a pre-existing function that is in Nix packages, right? But we made our own make derivation. So technically, right, this is our function that we're going to import from our autotools.nix file. But don't forget, we need to pass it the packages parameter. And so that's what we do here, because what's actually happening, right, is when we import this, it gets evaluated, right? And that becomes then evaluated against packages as a parameter, right? So import doesn't just import, but it also is now usable as the function itself. And so that's when we create that function with the argument of packages. Right? And so if we go back to our auto tools, right, packages is our first parameter, attributes is our second. We haven't provided that second parameter yet, so we've only really defined the make derivation function itself, right? We haven't actually like created any type of configuration yet. We've just imported the function we want to use. Now that we have that function, now we could say, all right, well, in, right, make derivation, right? Because there's our variable. And then here we go. Name equals hello, right? And then source equals hello. Oh, whoops, sorry, no. Hello.tar.gz. Now, outside of that, this is all we need, right? This is all we need right here. And that's because we took a lot of this logic, we shoved it into a function that was now reusable. And so if I go back to auto tools, again, what are we doing? We're first getting all of our packages, right, from Nix packages, right? And then we are importing our auto tools file, right? So just like another module in any other, language, right? I'm just importing another module from Nix, which was the one we just made, the auto tools one, or the function, right? That is now usable. And so we say, all right, well, let's make derivation name equals hello and source equals that. So I only have to pass those two things because remember, down here, we have our default attributes, and then we merge left anything that we want to change. In this case, we don't have name or source at all, right? Because it's not in the default attributes. So what's really going to happen is it's going to use all of the other pre-existing default values and then merge name and source into that, right? So let's take a look at this. Finally, we've got a very simple description of a package. Below are a couple of remarks that you may find useful as you're continuing to understand the Nix language, okay? We assigned to packages the import that we did in a previous expression with, oh my God, dude. Okay, I think he's just going to go over exactly what I just went over with, which, you know what that means, chat? It means I'm getting good at educating, because these are the things that stick out to me as well. That really makes me feel more comfortable about making Nix videos, the fact that I basically just went through the whole thing and they're doing the exact same thing. So let's do that. So we assigned packages instead of doing the with, right? And again, that's very straightforward, because in this case, we don't want to globally just import all of our packages and use them. We want to pass it as a parameter, right, to the function that we created in autotools.nix. And so when we import autotools.nix and this is evaluated, right, we can then say, okay, well, autotools.nix is going to take the parameter of packages, right? And that parameter is what we actually add as what all of our packages, you know, that value actually is. So in this case, we don't have to do a with Nix or with packages or anything like that. We just provide packages as a parameter to import autotools.nix. After we have that, the make derivation variable is a nice example of a partial application, right? Look at it as parentheses import / autotools.nix packages. First, we import the expression, right? Then we apply the package's parameter. That will give us the function that accepts the attribute set attributes, right? Because remember, in a functional language, you're always just returning a function to use if you need more than one parameter, or at least in this regard you are. And so this case, I forget what the term, what's that term called again? What is it when you like put a function into function and function into function to like evaluate all of those functions but have a bunch of different parameters? I forget the name of it. It has an at currying. Thank you. Yes, currying. So essentially through currying, you achieve multiple parameters, right? And multiple functions. And so this make derivation function is an evaluation of the actual function we made in AutoTools with the packages provided to it. Meaning that when we call make derivation, we can now actually build the software. And so that's why they say here, we first import the expression, right? Then we apply packages as a parameter to that expression. So at this point, once we've imported it, it's an expression now. So we can use it as a function right here if we wanted to. The other thing we could do, which is probably not as like helpful, but it'll help you understand what I'm explaining, is I could do this. I could say make derivation like import, right? And then say make derivation equals make derivation import packages, right? And now I have make derivation, right? So that's all the parentheses does, is it just makes it so that I can immediately act on it as what it's being evaluated in the file. Yeah. Wait, what? That should be fine. Top level expressions are not, what am I missing? That should be totally fine. I don't know why that's freaking out. Okay, that was weird. But anyways, okay. So then the last thing is we create the derivation specifying only the name and the source, right? If the project eventually needed other dependencies to be in the path, then we would simply add those to the build inputs, right? Not specified in Hello Nix because we don't need it, right? Note, we didn't use any other library. Special C flags may be needed to include files and other libraries at compile time and ID flags at link time. So yeah, that's just something else to note. So let's do this really quickly. Let's build this one more time, right? So I'm going to save this, and then I'm just going to say Nix build Hello Nix. Oh, wait, what? What am I missing here? Oh, maybe, do I not need the actual, I always get confused about these parentheses. That's right. They don't actually do anything. I don't like that about Nix. I'm sorry. That's one thing I don't like about Nix is the parentheses don't really do anything. Oh yeah, you're right. I do need that as well. But yeah, that's something else that I like. The parentheses, unless you like, they're only there if you need them, but they evaluate by default. Okay, that should work though. Thank you, Raisin. I appreciate that. Parentheses are used for ambiguity. Yeah, I know. I just don't like that. I'm not a big fan of that. Anyways, okay, here we go. What else am I missing? Expression. An expression is wait, is it because of this? Hold on. Is it because I'm doing that? No. Let packages import. Packages. Remove. But isn't, oh, is that not supposed to be there? Oh, okay. That's something I'm still trying to get used to as well, is when you do need that thing and when you don't. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Okay. There. Oh. Builder.sh. Oh, because, okay, hold on. Remember, Nix uses Git, chat, so you have to add these things to your Git history. There we go. Wait, failed. Why are we failing now? Tar, no such file or directory. Builder.sh. What? Builder.sh. Why are you freaking out? Builder. Did I spell something wrong? builder.sh. builder. So hello Nix makes derivation. Auto tools and Nix. Hello. That looks good. Why are we tar line 9 tar no such file or directory? Wait, is it actually saying that tar is not there? Oh, I think it might be saying that tar itself is not there. Okay, so let's go to this then. Let's go to our builder. Oh no, sorry. Let's go to our auto tools. But wait, what is tar supposed to be in then? Yeah, GNU tar. But it's saying it doesn't have tar, or is it saying it doesn't have the file? I don't know which one it is. I don't know which one's failing. I don't know if it's the file or if it's the tar, no such file or directory. Line 9 tar, so no. Okay, so I think it's failing on tar. I think it's actually saying that tar is not there. Is that because... Yeah, okay. It's because my script is not fully updated. Hold on. So if we go back to builder, how we've got build inputs, right? We basically need to do the same thing with base inputs. I forgot they said that they wanted us to do that. So base inputs. There we go. Okay, that should work. There we go. So again, doing the exact same thing that it did before, right? It's evaluating the actual configuration. It's then injecting the environment variables into the script. It's then running those, those predetermined commands against those predetermined environment variables. It's then building that thing, and then it's giving me that output. And so now if I do this, right, bam, there we go. And if I do this, hello, right, get rid of this, I should be able to run hello, and there it is. So chat, there we go. That is a much more realistic perspective, or a much more realistic example of essentially using Nix, the language, to build software. And as we start building that software, make it more abstracted, make it more composable, right? Say like, okay, well, I know I'm going to build a lot of software with C, right? Maybe we make a function that is our own C builder, right? Or not function, yeah, but I'm sorry, yeah, make our own function that has our own C builder in it that we can then pass all of our applications through. And then there you go. That's how you can build all of your, all of your services. Like, think about that, chat. One way of building all of your services, you just give it the source code, right? That's the real power that we have in our hands right here. Yeah, this is the article. Actually, you just do today. If you do today in chat, it should show. Just give it a second. Oh, Scotty, that's That's not a good redemption, my friend. I'm probably gonna have to be calling it here in the next few. But let's figure out. I'll get up, but I am probably gonna have to call it here shortly. So let's continue this really quickly and conclude. So Nix gives us the bare metal tools for creating derivations, setting up a build environment and storing the result in the Nix store. Out of this pill, we managed to create a generic builder for AutoTools projects and a function make derivation that composes by default the common components used in AutoTools projects instead of repeating them in all the packages we would write, right? And that's a big thing to note, as I just said, right? If we can, let's just build all of our software the same way, have good standards, and also give the ability of overrides if we need to and stuff like that. But Nix gives us the ability to have that level of abstraction as well as that level of composability. We can do both, right? We really can do both. We are familiarizing ourselves with the way a Nix system grows up, right? It's about creating and composing derivations with the Nix language. And that's why when we first started, right, it was, okay, let's just focus on building hello, right? That's what we did first, right? We focused on just building a builder for hello, right? The hello builder. And then we said, like, okay, cool. Now that we've got that, how can we take our next step into doing this by making it so we can build any C application that we make with, similar utilities, similar steps and stuff, but we're going to call that our builder.sh, right? And we made it a bit more dynamic, where we can have like multiple base inputs. We can have multiple build inputs. We can then, we can then or decompress it, I guess, unzip it, whatever, the same way. But then, CD into a random dynamic directory and then configure it and make it right. So yeah, that's really supposed to exemplify the ability of, again, I think two words really being abstraction and compositing. Abstracting away these things that we care about and then composing these abstractions in ways that we need to rebuild or build other applications similarly with, right? In analogy, in C, you create objects in the heap and then you compose them inside new objects. Pointers are used to refer to other objects. In Nix, you create derivations stored in the Nix store, and then you compose them by creating new derivations. Store paths are used to refer to other derivations, right? And again, this is where we step away from just normal build tools and actually leaning on a language, right, that is evaluating these again, the easiest way to kind of express how this all is working under the hood is whenever we make a derivation or an expression of some sort, or really a derivation in Nix, that will be evaluated to the file system, right? It's going to not only have a logical virtual memory reference of that variable, right? But it's also going to have a physical path that it needs to reference for like configurations and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So this is why Nix is also what we call a domain-specific language, because it focuses on build problems. It's not a general purpose language where it's only focused on, just being as general as it can. You build what you need to out of it. Nix is saying like, no, we want to make a language that helps build software, right? And so that's why this analogy works really well here, because if you think about building software with a language, then in that language, your derivations, right, or your objects are stored in your store, just like objects in C are stored in your heap, right? And then you compose those objects into new objects, right? Well, in Nix, you compose those new derivations in other derivations using the language, right? And then paths using the language are then inherited so that we know where everything is. And that's why it's so important to not just have a virtual memory reference of these derivations, but to have a physical one too. Because if we don't have that physical connection to what we're building, then we don't know where it's going to go. We don't know what dependencies it has. We don't know where the dependencies are. So that's why, again, Nix is really domain specific in that way, because it really does tie itself to the store, right? The store is literally like, you can't use Nix without the store. So, I mean, an easier way to put it is, in Node.js, you can use Node without a package manager, right? It's a general purpose language in that regard. But with Nix, like, you can't use it without the store, right? And I guess a better example of that is with Node, you can only use Node with memory, right? The only other way this is comparable is basically if Node rendered all of its data to the file system, right? And for, whatever it needed for logical computations. Whereas Nix does that by default when it needs to, right? Cool. All right. So chat, I think I am going to call it here. It's been a very, very fun, interesting, and honestly a good day. I'm really, really excited about what we're doing. And again, if you guys haven't yet, I highly recommend you checking out the whole Nix Pills series because we're going through it. And just remember, if you go to our YouTube as well, the first one is going to be where we're actually going to post the output of this exploration, where I'm going to be posting a video on how to get started with Nix and basically what it is. But the second YouTube is our VODs, right? And that's really where all of these, full videos are going to be. So if you want to ever catch them or anything like that, feel free. Like I said, I'm uploading them periodically, so you should be catching the Nix one. Should be coming out pretty soon, the start of these. But we have been going through this whole series, so if you do as well want to, you're welcome to check out our Twitch channel. All of our VODs are on the Twitch channel, and you can at least check those out for now until they hit YouTube. But as I said, we've already gone through why you should give Nix a try, installing it on your operating system, entering the environment, the basics of the language, functions and imports, our first derivation, a working derivation, and now generic builders. And we're actually getting close to being done with a lot of the more introductory things and really starting to show a lot of the cool things about it. Again, automatic runtime dependencies and using the actual Nix shell to develop with, which is something we haven't really even talked about, which is Nix doesn't just build software for you, but because it can build shells and environments, it can build dev environments for you too, which removes a lot of other things that you need. And this is really where my second video is going to be coming out as well. I have one video on dot files on how to do it with Ansible. I'm going to be making a follow-up video on how to do that effectively with Nix, because that is possible. That's literally how I have my dev set up now is I have essentially a Nix shell, which is my whole home environment and everything inside of it, and that's called Home Manager. There's also garbage collection, inputs, design patterns. There's a lot of really cool things that I'm really excited about going over. So be sure to stick around in the future to be sure to check out all these other pills that we're gonna be swallowing in the future. But thank you guys again so much for hanging out with me today. I really do appreciate it. If you are new to our channel, again, be sure to check out that little blurb right there. We are a variety channel hosted by myself, BG, as well as my good friend Atoda. The TLDRs is where co-hosted stream, and during the week, you hang out with me. Normally Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I work on a lot of different things. I've been in the industry for about 10 years now, and my main focus at the moment is DevOps. And so whether it's building Quirk, which is what you guys saw earlier with the outage and, maintaining that whole project that we've been building, or experimenting and learning new things like Nix and kind of sharing that with the community. Nix is something I'm very excited about. It's something every time I mess with it, it's like Rust. I get more hooked and more interested in it. So that's a big reason why I'm also sharing it with you guys too, is I'm trying to be a bit more of an advocate for it. As with that advocacy, I will say we also want to try and create a wonderful community for people to be able to join and be a part of it. So I highly recommend joining our Discord if you want. We've got a great community full of, programmers, gamers, nerds, whatever. If you ever have questions, you're more than welcome to hop in and ask. We also have a growing Nix community that is something I'm trying to do. I'm trying to grow and say okay, I know we don't have a home for Nix and everywhere, so come join us. We'll be your home. And so, yeah, if you're also really interested in Nix, I recommend asking questions. Honestly, the best thing you can do, chat, in our community is ask questions. We have a very, very chill community. Everyone's super nice, chats and stuff like that. But I will say a lot of our Discord's focused on just help, talking, helping. Doesn't mean you can't talk, join, or anything else. Feel free, feel free. It's a normal Discord, but like I do want to empower people to feel like, they can ask questions. You're totally down. We're here to help. And we also have mods dedicated to like helping you guys out and stuff like that too. So I'm apparently busting at work with Python right now. Oh, geez. Sorry, bud. Outside of that, we do have some social medias. Feel free to follow us on Twitter and just be able to keep up on, everything else we got going on in our wacky world as well. But yeah, thank you guys. I really, really appreciate it. I appreciate you guys hanging out today. It's good to be, back into the week. I will be back Wednesday, or I'm sorry, not Wednesday. I will be back Friday from our Alta 4 stream. So I hope to see you guys then. But let's go raid somebody. Let's go find somebody to raid here really quickly. So we just raided them the other day. Oh, Twilio's got something going on. Do you guys want to? Should we go raid Twilio? They've got. What is this? You guys want to raid Twilio? Do you guys want to go see the Twilio conference? I can just send you to Twilio. Oh, Ladjor, what's up, dude? I'm going to send you guys to Twilio. Let's go raid Twilio. Screw it. Here. So right now, I don't know if you guys know, Twilio's got their Signal Day going on, where it's they're talking about, I guess, all of their, new updates and everything. So let's go raid them. Let's go show them some love. I also have no idea what they're showing. So as somebody who does actually use Twilio, it'd be kind of interesting to see what that is. But let's go say hi to them. Again, this is like an actual conference, so I don't know if anybody's going to actually be responding. But as I know most of you guys like to have something on in the background that is enjoyable, hopefully this will be a good one. All right, guys, have a fantastic rest of your day. I will see you Friday for more Alta 4 streams. Love you guys.